Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Spare Time Entertainment Center, Owatonna, Minnesota. You are watching a live broadcast of the Champions Pro Shop Open. I'm Andrew Pfeffer, live streaming all three events. And when I say all three, I mean the two squads of qualifying. You're looking at the A squad right now as they finish up practice. We'll have B squad qualifying this afternoon, and the advancers round and stepladder finals later on tonight. And you'll be able to see those on separate videos on the playlist if you've taken a look. We will have some guests for interviews during the course of the tournament, and we will crown a champion here today in this event. For those of you unfamiliar, Owatonna is about an hour or so south of the Twin Cities of Minnesota. And a big shout out to Al Houston, who has put this together, and Briley Howe, who operates Champions Pro Shop here in Owatonna. Let me give you a peek at the format and the pattern before everybody gets started here. The format is 6 games of qualifying across 18 lanes. Spare Time is an 18-lane center, and we're kind of right in the middle here. The championship pair is on lanes 11 and 12. There are 2 qualifying squads, and 54 entries are the max for each squad. You'll have 1 and 4 advancing to a 4-game advancers round, which starts at 6:30 this evening. And the top 5 will advance to a stepladder final. Here's what they'll be competing on today: the 2023 U.S. Open pattern number 1.
As you guys are wrapping up,
as you can see, not for the faint of heart.
So if you guys make sure you stop by and say hi. After your shift, if you want to join them for a little bit, feel welcome to.
And yeah, very flat. Spans most of the lane surface, 49 feet. So a lot of flatness, a lot of volume, and certainly a challenge for these competitors today. So the competitors have just finished up practice. Got 4 on a pair across the house, so competition should go by pretty quickly. Again, this is A squad qualifying, just getting underway here. And on our live stream pair right now, you've got Dan Chambers on the left, Eric Schott on the right to start things off. Thomas Cleveland, Clayton Moore, all on this pair right now. And the cool part about this event is that it is the first jewel in the 10K Larson Siding Windows and Roofing quadruple crown of events. 4 different events, 4 different cities, spanning across Wisconsin and Minnesota, 3 of the 4 in Minnesota and 1 in La Crosse, Wisconsin, coming up in about a month or so. And you can see Clayton Moore playing that outside line, twisting that head pin between the 4 and 7 to start things off for the good. 3 of our 4 competitors here on our live stream pair starting out with strikes so far. And Chambers with a nice flush strike there on lane 12. Bowlers will, again, bowl 6 games across these 18 lanes here at Spare Time Entertainment Center. Thanks, as always, to those of you watching on the Bowling with the Pfeff YouTube channel. Feel free to pipe in the live chat. Let us know where you're watching from. If there's a particular bowler you're cheering on today, and we'll help you shout them out. As we get going here, we'll help you lay out those 4 tournaments. The Quadruple Crown, and let you know where the next events will be coming from. You can catch 2 of those 4 events, not just this one, but also the Rochester match games at Colonial Lanes in Rochester, Minnesota, right here on the channel. And those videos will be added to the same playlist that you can find these on. So again, this tournament part of the 10K Larson Siding, Windows, and Roofing Quadruple Crown. You can catch the rest of the tournament today right here. And also on December 16th, the Rochester Heating and Plumbing Holiday Match Games. On November 18th, you've got the Lacrosse Open at Playmore Lanes in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And to wrap things up, February, the St. Cloud-A-Palooza in St. Cloud at Southway. 4 great tournaments, 4 great centers. And if you're familiar with Spare Time, you probably know this, but I'll tell you, it's kind of sectioned off. There's a wall between lanes 4 and 5. And right now, there's the competitors are only on 5 through 18. 1 through 4 does not have any action on it right now. Matching 2 410s for shot and chambers. And looking across the house, I mean, there are plenty of opens in the early going. A 49-foot flat 2023 U.S. Open pattern, the pattern of choice. And the crew here at Spare Time will be re-oiling between the 2 qualifying squads, the A squad and the B squad, and then again before the 4-game advancers round, scheduled to start tonight at 6:30. Again, a big thank you to those of you who are tuning in on the Bowling with the Pfeff channel. Be sure and utilize that live chat right under the video window. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering on, and we'll help you shout them out. I love this. Debbie Dotis tuning in from Princeton, Texas, here to watch Ryan Powers. And as long as there isn't somebody else with that last name, I can tell you that Ryan's on 7 and 8 right now. Just getting up in his 7th frame with 85 through 5 and a strike up in the 6th. So thank you, Debbie. And at some point here, we will have Ryan in action on our live stream pair 11 and 12. Some of these bowlers will be moving left and some right, so I believe that we'll catch up with Ryan in game 3. But a big thank you from all of us up here in Owatonna down to Texas, Debbie, for tuning in live at the Champions Pro Shop Open. Eric Schott cleaning up that 3-6-10 on lane 11 there. Certainly slow going for these guys early on. Scores are nice and low so far here on 11 and 12. At least 3 out of the 4 are going to be sub 200. But again, certainly not an easy pattern. Clayton Moore goes Brooklyn, but he'll take it. It's a double, and those are few and far between so far here. You may have noticed a little hiccup in the beginning of our live stream here. Accidentally fired it up on the wrong video in our playlist, so I'll be remaking that later on today. The Advancers Round and Stepladder video that you'll be seeing starting tonight, scheduled to start at 6:30 p.m. We'll have a new video link for that. Looks like shot caught someone or something off to his left, so he'll reset himself and start over. A nice cover on a 1-2-6-8-10 by Chambers. Make it 3 in a row for Clayton Moore. As I look up and down the house, doesn't certainly seem to be many urethane balls, if any, going down the lanes. And a big thank you to Cher Rieg tuning in from Wayne, Nebraska, rooting on Mike Peck and wants to know what lane he is on. Well, I will try and figure that out for you. Give me a moment here. I'll ask around until we find him. Okay, got it for you. It appears he's on 17 and 18. He's back in the concourse right now, doing something with an accessory bag. But again, we'll end up with everybody floating by our live stream pair here, and we'll get to see the games that match the faces. as we go. But thank you, Cher, for tuning in all the way from Nebraska. Certainly appreciate it. And keep tuned right here as Mr. Peck and the rest of the competitors come by our live stream pair. So it's a 124 for Chambers, 141 for Shot. Again, kind of a slow start on this pair. And Moore jumps up high, leaves a 4-pin. But can still salvage 200 with a spare and some count. And instead, flags that 4, and I believe he's at about 193. So certainly the best we've seen on this pair so far, as Cleveland just misses the split there, and he'll finish with 140. So again, some of the folks will be moving left, others right. So they'll end up crossing with different competitors through the course of the morning. And see, I was wrong there, Debbie. Ryan Powers just set his bowling balls down on the ball return here. So it looks like we'll see him in game 2.
Brad is at the cabin.
All right, just getting ready for game 2. You bet, Debbie. Thanks for the interest and all that stuff. And actually, Cher was looking for Mike Peck. He's right here with us. So I wish I could tell you I was taking requests like that, but it just kind of worked out the right way. So So here we go as we start up game 2 with Ryan Powers. And collapses the sticks on the left side to start things off with a strike. Oh, there's me. I was hoping to give that a shot and see what I looked like there. Unfortunately, it went live. Phil Stellmaker going a little inside of most of the traffic we've seen on this pair so far, and it paid off as he starts with an X in the first. There we go. Just briefly lost the connection there. So Powers leaving a 10 pin there on lane 12. A lot of the folks here in this event, regulars at events like the Central Bowlers Alliance here in Minnesota. So a big thank you to those of you who are tuning in live and, of course, later on replay for joining us for the A Squad qualifying here at the Champions Pro Shop Open. This is great. I think Terry Howe has been at this center a time or two before. A couple times. She's just brought over some comfy chairs.
Very much so.
That makes a big deal when you're sitting here for what'll turn out to be 13, 14 hours.
So it's our next large purchase. These stools are AMF Cubica. Great idea. Not comfortable.
Okay.
Unless you're about 6'5".
Right.
And you can put your feet on the ground.
Yep.
I'm 5'5". Okay, 5'6" on a good day.
Okay.
Can't reach the ground.
I'm right in between, so still kind of in the danger zone.
I'm excited you're here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is great. I was just explaining that a lot of these guys are regulars in events like CBA, and certainly some of the top talent that Minnesota and surrounding areas have to offer.
It is. And I'm excited about the whole Ford tournament, huge prize fund at the end. And, I'm all for everyone working together for the greater good. So I love that this tournament is spread out throughout the Minnesota area and throughout different regions. And that it's bringing everyone together. And it's giving them this kind of extra incentive to get out somewhere else to a different tournament, because they know there's bigger prize money at the end if they bowl all 4 of them. Well, I think it's 3 of 4, actually.
It's 4, yep.
So.
In fact, we put those up earlier. These are the 4 events. The one here in Owatonna. Next month, you've got the Lacrosse Open at Playmore and Lacrosse. December 16th at Colonial in Rochester, Minnesota. And then we cap it off on February 10th at Southway Bowl in St. Cloud. So, yeah, lots of great events. And a great tour of Minnesota, Wisconsin, that kind of border region, I guess you could say.
We've needed it. Yeah. I mean, this house alone, and somebody may correct me, but this house alone, I know we have at least 3 Eagles in this house. There may be more.
Okay.
And this house was the beginning of so many things. Gary Stotts, who built this property, he actually owned Fair Lanes prior to this, which is where the Walgreens is down the street. That's another whole conversation.
Okay.
I don't like the Walgreens because they keep buying up the little bowling centers.
Sure.
But anyway, Gary Stotts was one of the innovators to start Minnesota high school bowling in the state of Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the 3. There was a triad of gentlemen in 1983, I'm pretty sure. And so when you have that kind of person in a house like this, you kind of see where I'm going with this. It needs to have a higher level of competition. And when I came into this house to reorganize it, let's say about 3 years ago, my focus was to find someone that could continue my vision, right? And to continue Gary's vision. And so I am so excited that we have Al Houston here. And, our pro shop is in the building. So we have Briley Howe, and Briley just feeds off Al and Al off Briley. And then I get my 2 cents worth in where I can. And I do more for the kids. They do more for the adults. It's okay. We need it all, right?
Right.
But yeah, it is exciting to see the energy back in this place. When the current owners took it over, I think their focus was mainly to turn it into an FEC. And then it's tough because like when I came in, there was a conditioned response that the bowlers weren't happy with the owners weren't happy with the bowlers, but it had nothing to do with anything but the fact that they didn't know how to communicate with each other. And that's so important.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now everybody understands everyone. Everybody's kumbaya. I mean, at one point before I came in, the owners didn't even want to come in this building. None of them are bowlers.
Okay.
Because when they walked in, somebody wanted to complain about something that they didn't understand, right?
Sure.
Now they understand.
Makes it hard to make the right changes when you don't understand, but
right.
It's cool that they, put in the effort to, to get to know bowlers and what their concerns are.
Now they're all about it.
Yeah.
They're all about it. So anything we do, we just got a new oiler. No, we didn't get the brand new computer operated one, but I figure I'm
Okay.
going to let Kegel work through some issues with that on the first year.
Sure.
Maybe there won't be.
Right. You never know.
I can't think of the name of you know the name of it? I can't think. Axiom?
Yeah. I'd have to do some quick Googling. I know what you're talking about, but
I
Yeah.
should know because I heard the name of it yesterday about 4 times. But I'm officially old at this point. First thing to go is my memory.
that's okay. Let's see if I can create a save here. Is it the Atlas Walker?
The Atlas Walker.
Okay.
And that's all computer driven.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even need to plug the cord in for Kazi.
Jeez.
And the nice thing is if something goes wrong, Kegel can pick it up.
Okay.
They can just pick it up over the internet and pick it up over Wi-Fi and tell you what's wrong with it. So Jim O'Reilly won't have to run all over the universe anymore. I laugh because Jim came to
He's
our
so
house.
good at that, though.
Well, when you've done it for 40 years, like he said, it's hard for me to stay in one place
Mm-hmm.
when I'm so used to being on the road all the time.
Sure.
And I know he stopped in here, did some things for us on Tuesday, went all the way up to north of Alexandria after that, and then over to Thief River Falls, and then back to Wabasha. That guy.
That's some miles.
That's not serious. He had an
That
old
is
gray,
serious
green,
mileage.
He had an old green panel van.
Okay.
And I think he had it somewhere around 600,000 miles or something.
Wow.
And then he ended up finally deciding he needed a new one. And the funny thing about it is I said, Jim, that was a Ford van. I said, if you'd have driven it to 1 million miles, they'd have given you a free car. And he's like, what? I go, what's 300,000 more on that
Right.
vehicle?
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. No, I mean, you bring up this center, and if you follow on social like I do, you really get this impression that there are constantly tournaments and special events coming out of this center, and it's really cool to see.
It is. And, Gary Stotts is up there in age. I'm guessing he's probably 90. He's still, oh my gosh, of sound mind. Because I get the call every once in a while because, Terry, you changed the rules on the senior traveling league. I'm like, no, Gary, I didn't change it. Okay. All right. Well, I got to take care of my seniors. I'm like, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
So he does still get a hold of me. And I mean, it's that kind of passion. He was me. I mean, I grew up, he worked in my center. I grew up in Mankato at Duttler's Bowl. He and my mom worked together over there. My mom used to do all the book work for Duttler's. And then she did it for Victory for a while also. But at that time, I think it was called the Double Deuce. And so this is a long, I've known him for over 50 years. But to grow up in that kind of passion, it's hard for me. I understand, now working here, I understand FEC. I understand parents. I had one parent last winter who wanted to get a lane for his kids, and he hadn't made a reservation. And I said, you know what? If you want to head over into the arcade or play laser tag, I said, within the hour we can get you a lane. When I called him for his lane, he came up to me and he goes, do you realize I just spent $200 in that kid's casino waiting for this lane? And then he started laughing because he understood it wasn't I gave him the idea, but not to spend $200.
Sure.
But I said it made me, because I was the way of the bowlers. I was the way of the league bowlers. It made me understand that there are people that just want to entertain their families, and they are willing to throw $50 an hour at it.
Sure.
And not blink an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 32 machines here. We also have a 3-story laser tag. And on weekends, in another month or so, this place is crazy. I mean, a crazy amount of money. And so it became a balance when I came in here to make sure the bowlers got good practice pricing, but made sure that it made sense with the families that are willing to come in here and spend $200. So it was tricky, but we worked it all out, and so.
Yeah, that's a balancing act that many proprietors go through these days, and bless their hearts, because you got to have both. You got to have the entertainment side, but you got to have the serious competition side. And it, in the early going here, it looks like you folks here are really good at that, because you got a challenging lane pattern, top talent, and cool stuff. Like I saw a flyer over on the other side of the building. You guys are willing to set up sport conditions for people, and let them practice on it, which is kind of a rare thing.
Right. Yep, it's very nice. We have several people that have been trained on our machine, and again, this is our catering to the bowlers, because that wasn't there. That was part of the disconnect.
Sure.
And it's so simple. I have to say, it's so simple if everyone coordinates that we are able to do both. I used to work in the finance world, and I was at the Lakeville Bolero when it first opened. I was invited in there because of a chamber event. And I remember the manager at the time saying, "We will never have leagues here. This is family entertainment only." I bet it wasn't 6 months before they were looking at opening leagues, because they realized 32 weeks of the year, the league pays the mortgage, right? And there is a fit. There is a fit for all of it. So, is it easy? No.
But nothing good is, right? Nothing worth doing is all that easy.
That's what I told Al. He goes, "Well, we're going to put you on Thursday nights, Wednesday nights, Monday nights, Sunday nights." I'm like, "Al, I'm retiring slowly.
Trying to, anyway.
I will be here for you." And I said, "Well, I can remember many, many days, and I just turned 60, so this had been in 57, 58, 59, up there, upper 50s, putting 12 to 15 hours on the floor, 18 to 20,000 steps.
Sure.
When I see people post, "Oh, I got my 5,000 steps in today," I'm like, seriously?
Oh, really?
Okay. But here, and in any bowling center, most any bowling center, everything you're going to go do is way over there. Our pro shop's way over in that corner. Our counter's way over in that corner. Our arcade's way over in that corner. Purposely set up that way, Yeah. But that's what it takes. I did a presentation for the bowling proprietors a few years ago, and it was talking about the energies of management and ownership. Like, if you get up in the morning and the toilet is clogged and the owner or the manager has to deal with it, and then he's grumpy, and then he's grumpy at the cleaners, and then the cleaners are grumpy at the bartender that comes in, and the waitress is grumpy with the customer, and you know what I mean?
It goes sideways real fast.
Oh, and it just carries on to the entire day.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with customer service. It's like, we all have issues, and I laugh about mine. But if you laugh about it, people laugh with you. If you complain about it, it turns their energy, to a dark side, and then that's what you end up with the entire day. So
sure,
those days when I was working 12 to 15 hour days, not because I had to, it was my choice, because I wanted to build the business, right?
Yeah.
And I had the most incredible kid staff. We had so much fun. We ran around here and just really enjoyed it. Okay, Briley's telling me to be quiet. You pulled the mic closer.
He's your son. He has to say something like that.
It's 24 years of this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, yes. We're listening to a conversation with Terry Howe. It looks like Ryan Powers ended up with 192. The gentleman in gray, I'm not sure what his name is. He ended up with 113 this game. Phil Stellmaker is on his way to about a 220. Could have 226 if he strikes on the fill ball. But, that's easily going to be the best game we've seen on this pair so far in the first two games of qualifying here.
It's funny, I was down talking to James Callahan. He was just on 5 and 6, and he looked at me and he goes, because he's not a regular tournament bowler, but he's a very good player. And he even said, he goes, well, Terry, I'm playing farther right than I think I've ever played. And he said, I didn't think that my rev rate and speed would ever be a problem. He goes, I'm having a problem lightening up on everything. And he goes, but what a great experience. He said, I've never experienced this before. So
yeah. 223 for Stellmaker. Again, the best game we've seen on this pair so far. And that condition that Terry's talking about, as I said earlier, not for the faint of heart. The 2023 U.S. Open pattern. And this will be in play for these 6 qualifying games. Then they'll re-oil ahead of the next qualifying squad. And then they'll re-oil again on the way to our advancers round. So they'll, the players will get a couple shots at the fresh on this, assuming they make it that far. And it's a challenge.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and the 2 minds we have here, I mean, Al Houston has an eagle at nationals, right? Riley bowls team trials every year. A lot of times bowls the national, or like the big stops, Masters, U.S. Open. And they put their minds together, and they're like a couple of little kids giggling. Like one tournament we ran earlier in the year, Al set up a singles tournament, and I think he set up the Open team shot from 2022.
Okay.
And Riley walks up to him and he goes, Al, you do realize you put down the team pattern, right? This is a singles tournament. He goes, this will never break down. He goes, and when it does, it's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
And then Al just looks at him and he goes, good, all the tougher.
Oh, I thought you were going to say load up like 12 on a pair, 10 on a pair, break this thing down.
So they have fun.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the point. I mean, I've been trying to get our machine that we purchased. We just have an icon, not a walker. You can see in our building here, there are too many things between 1 through 4 and this side to really make sense for us to have a walker. So
Sure.
We just have a straight up icon. But I've been trying to get something refurbished. Well, I finally got a junior gold refurbished machine. And a lot of people don't know, well, they're not even refurbished. They're brand new.
Oh.
They use them how many times at junior gold?
And then, so it's like an open box type thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they sell it.
Okay.
So it's a really nice discount for those of you that are looking for new machines. You can either talk to Classic or Bob's Business. They all have access to those big tournament machines. And it could be the U.S. Open. All of those machines have to go out, and normally they're sold afterwards. Like somebody thought, well, John Janowitz would just take these machines out. They would send them there, they would use them, and then they'd bring them back.
Keep talking. I need to hit a button on the camera here.
Sure. But they don't really just send them out and bring them back. They usually send them out, use them, and then they sell them as used equipment. So, it's not a huge discount, but every discount when you're buying a $30,000 machine is well worth it. So
Oh, yeah.
I love that we have a new machine and we have new patterns. And we had a Kegel machine prior to when I first came here. They had a Brunswick machine, and for the level of bowler we have here, it doesn't create the patterns the way you need to create the patterns. So
Yeah. Say hi. You're on camera.
hi. Oh, wait.
No, you're looking this way.
Wait, I'm going to put on makeup.
Tell the
No.
folks hi, because the bowlers are traveling between pairs here. But
Yeah.
as I mentioned, Terry Howe, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that you are the executive director of IPSIA. Tell us
I
a little
am.
bit about IPSIA for those who aren't familiar.
Well, IPSIA is the International Bowling Pro Shop and Instructors Association. Ooh, I got that a lot faster this time.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know what it is, so that's really funny. I just got to spend the last 2-3 days down at Jayhawk in Kansas. I was down at Lawrence, Kansas. Oh my gosh, you guys. If you get a chance to talk to John Hardman or Russ Wilson down there, stop in. John, who owns Jayhawk, has... Even if you don't want to stop in there to ask about machines or any of the tools of our industry, he has got a museum of items that wouldn't be second to our Hall of Fame at USBC.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think between him and the collection that Bill Chrisman are just amazing. Wooden balls. He's got pins from different eras where we were segregated.
Okay.
I had no idea that there were segregated leagues. There were segregated pins for these leagues. They had different league labels on them. He's got Barbie dolls from who knows when. It's just John's favorite is more so the pins, but he's got a bowling ball collection, machinery collection. I mean, you walk in the front door and it's just everywhere. And I didn't want to leave the front door. I didn't want to leave the front entryway. It was just amazing. So, and people think of it as, well, I don't need to stop into Jayhawk because that's just ball drilling machines. But oh my gosh. And so welcoming. I sat through, they were doing a HOTS class down there, which is a hands-on training class. Mm-hmm. Amazing facility for it. Oh. And so that's kind of what I do with my job is I go around to different training facilities and different educators, and we're kind of trying to build the greater good and pull together some of the classes. So we're all kind of teaching the latest and greatest. And, we also do a lot of associate members where we work together. Like we work together with Storm and Brunswick and Turbo and Vice, and I'm missing a million of them, I'm sure. Kegel. So yeah, it's an exciting piece. It's a piece that I haven't had as big a concentration in over the last, 50 plus years in bowling. So for me, it's exciting. I enjoy it. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't want to leave Jayhawk. I'm like, I could just stay here.
Yeah.
And then they brought in these donuts. Okay, a donut is a donut, right? Oh no, these things are called. I think the business is called Munchers.
Okay.
I don't know how
somewhere
they
in
make
Kansas.
It is. It's in Lawrence, Kansas.
Okay.
It's right by Royal Crest Lanes, which they have pro events there, I believe. And it's Munchers. Evidently, it's a 24/7 donut shop. Okay, I know I'm not supposed to get excited about donuts, especially when you're over 60 and you're female and you're not supposed to gain weight, right? These were amazing. And then I came back and I told Briley, I'm like, I had these amazing donuts. He goes, oh, you got Munchers. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
Am I the only one that
So
doesn't
it's
know
well
about
known.
Munchers?
Yeah. See, now when I get home, my 11-year-old's going to be tugging on my shirt. Hey, are we going to Lawrence, Kansas anytime soon? That's his thing.
You would love
Yeah.
it. You would love it. And it's not bad. I drove down and drove back. It's a little bit farther than Kansas City, so it's not really that big a deal.
Okay.
And
Once
right
you get rolling.
Oh yeah. And right off the interstate. So
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of crazy. I like to drive.
Sure.
There's so many things along the way to see, and usually I'll stop somewhere along the way, and so. Yeah.
So we're a couple frames into game 3 now. You just saw Nick Heileman from the La Crosse, Wisconsin area up on lane 12. He's a pro shop owner at Playmore in La Crosse. Troy Condon about to get up on 12, and I'm going to admit a couple of guys that I'm not familiar with.
At 11 is Cody Larson.
Cody Larson.
Cody bowled for Ham Lake High School.
Oh.
I believe it's Blaine High School. In fact, funny story. Like, Look how how tall Cody is now. So Cody, for most of his high school career, was very small, very short.
Okay.
But still had a ton of power. In fact, he was the anchor bowler at one point, and he was probably only 5 foot, maybe.
Okay.
So he was kind of, I pick on him. I know him very well. And his mom, Sandy. And his dad, Bill. Yeah. But he's a late bloomer. Oh, my gosh. Now he's, 6 foot?
Yeah.
But it was really funny because Cody went to Weber International. He was down there, I think, for a couple of years. And then he came back, and I believe he works at Ham Lake Lanes.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm familiar with what that place was in the 90s because I bowled North Metro Traveling League, and we made the occasional stop up there. I can't forget to mention here that Nick certainly took the lane out of play on that shot on 11 that he buried on the Brooklyn side.
I missed it.
Yeah, it was just kind of a dart right at the pocket. But no, and to go from there to Weber,
Yeah. Big move.
And I know you've got a great relationship with Del Warren, and I'm sure he got the most out of Cody while he was there.
Right. Well, and Cody's an incredible player. He's very laid back, very, very quiet, unless you get to know him.
Yeah.
Then he's loud.
Okay.
But I mean, you don't see much out of him on the lanes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're not going to see. He's an incredible competitor, but you're not going to see a lot emotionally, externally, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And speaking as someone who sometimes trends to the opposite, that's not a bad thing. But yeah.
I know.
And help me with this gentleman here on the right, who's sitting a little bit off frame right now.
That is Shane Cloaknose.
Okay.
He is actually a league bowler out of this area.
Okay.
He does bowl traveling leagues, and he wants to get into more tournaments. He's got a great, really simple game. He practices a lot. He's actually a police investigator. Don't give him away.
Oh, cool.
But he is.
Okay.
And a very, very nice guy.
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
Well, it's cool that, he has this opportunity right in his home area, to get some reps at a great event like this. And,
yeah, they came out to practice a week ago or so, and I'm like, are you guys bowling the tournament? I'm like, we should.
Yeah.
But the funnier story was he and James Callahan bowled together. I don't know if we've seen James yet, but the very funnier story was James said to Shane, okay, my wife likes you, so you have to tell my wife how important this is that I bowl this tournament.
I love that. The power play.
That was kind of the running joke for the last week. I love my wife, but she loves you more.
I'll have to introduce you to my wife.
Well, it's like what you and I do, our spouses have to be very trusting's not the word, but
patient.
Very patient, thank you.
Very patient. Yeah.
Because we do travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So. I know one Scott, I can't think of his last name right now. One of the bowlers locally here. He bowls all over. He goes, he texted me one time when I was in Las Vegas, and he goes, I'm bowling with your husband. Would you like me to tell him where you are? Sure. Oh.
Yeah. So, again, back to Nick, who's about to get up here on 11. Runs the pro shop at Playmore Lanes in La Crosse, and that's where we're going to have our second event in this 10K Larson Quadruple Crown. La Crosse Open, another great event with a lot of great talent. You get a nice mix of ladies and gentlemen from both Minnesota and Wisconsin, as La Crosse is right on the border there. And a long history of great talent and great players who have won there. Off the top of my head, Brady Stearns, Tom Hess, Nick Pate.
The Claymore Lanes just went into new ownership. Dick
Okay.
Zerke was the owner. And I apologize, I don't know the new owners.
Okay.
I know they have a different center, so they're not brand new to it. They
Okay.
understand bowling. But Dick Zerke was, just an amazing energy for bowling. He did so much for the youth, and so when I saw he was retiring, I wasn't happy about it. And we used to have tournaments down there too quite often. Claymore was just the place to go.
Yeah.
Because he understood taking care of us, and not like we're high maintenance coming in, but there are certain things when you come into a tournament. making sure the lane man's there early, making sure the pattern is in ahead of time, so you're not trying to figure it out. There's a different preparation, so I don't know.
Yep.
He took care of us in that manner, and I love him to death and miss him, and he's probably fishing. And I don't blame him for that.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of years in that center.
Yeah.
He hosts the collegiate event down there too. I think it was.
Oh. Maybe something that Viterbo hosted, or
it was mainly the Wisconsin Conference.
Sure.
Tournament.
The Great Lakes.
Yes.
Conference, which formerly the Wisconsin Collegiate Bowling Conference.
So, which is weird because when I bowled collegiately, we all had conferences.
Mm-hmm.
The entire nation had conferences. Yeah.
Right.
As you know.
Oh yeah.
And now it's so different, and it's really strategic. Somebody signs up to be a college coach. They just, we're going to go to tournaments. Well, it's all point driven.
Yep.
And a lot of the biggest tournaments with the most points are full, and will be full because it's somewhat first. Some of them are first come, first serve, but some of them are, if you were in it before, you get your invitation, and whatever's left over.
Yep.
That's what's left over.
And I believe the proof of that is going on in Owatonna right now at the Midwest Collegiate.
It is.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see. And that's why I said to Briley, I go, where are our collegiate players for this tournament?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, didn't even think about it, Mom. We got the Midwest going on in Owatonna. And because this was a new piece that we added to make it the quadruple crown.
Sure.
So, and Briley's like, well, maybe this isn't the exact time. Maybe next year be a week earlier so we can get the collegiate players. So, but you're a little bit at the mercy of scheduling. When we have our combine every year, like one every 6 years, Josh Hodney has to schedule his high school things a week later, which means then we go a week later, which then upsets the MJ and his schedule. And
there's always something. I think you have to, at some point, you just have to kind of submit to the fact that, okay, we're going to be up against something.
I know.
And hopefully it doesn't take away from what we're trying to do here.
Well, and I said, it's about 15 years ago, I think, that I started the USBA, United States Bowling Academy. And when I started it, it was hard to find a jersey company. So that's why I started Jazzy A. And it was hard to find a tournament. And since then, and there's a lot of places that are using our format, which is a flighted format. I don't care. That's what I do. You know what I mean? If I create something that everybody else wants, wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll create something else. So like this year with our USBA tournament, I've now given all the power to the directors, because we've had a couple years now that the directors have learned how to be tournament directors.
Sure.
And now they're setting up all their tournaments. We're still managing the USBC side of it, the smart accounts and the junior gold entries. But they're managing the tournaments and setting up the tournaments and calling and making sure like we talked about before, the lane patterns are out there. And do you have a featured lunch special?
Always important.
I know.
Always important.
Yeah. Well, and when we bring in a tournament, even if it's 50 kids, most of them bring 2 adults. That's 150 people walking in the building.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's not often that we're at 50. And I said, what we're finding is we're just moving the tournament around a little bit to where we're filling the fastest. So like in southern Minnesota, we have so many additional tournaments now for youth. We're only running 4 tournaments down here for our kind of southern point.
Sure.
We are, I believe, moving back into Iowa next year. We have a couple people down there talking about being directors. But what we're trying to do is just make it more independent so that the director can run it. We manage it, so Zach Barton is happy at USBC. And we get out to the masses. And our director in central Minnesota is going all the way up to Bemidji this year.
Oh.
So, and those tournaments fill up 2 weeks ahead of time.
Wow.
That's how crazy it is. That's how much they want it up there.
Yeah.
And that's why I said down here, I don't feel bad if we have lower numbers. It just means what I did is working because now there are things on the ground. So,
and it's cool to know that there's that kind of demand. You know, there's got to
Absolutely.
be. That's the foundation of it. So that's good to see, especially coming from an area where, you know, could use a few more events.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, North Dakota is big too, but it's because there's not much up there either. You
Yeah.
know?
Sure.
And they have a few more men's tournaments. Well, and now with the latest switch around where junior gold is only U18, and evidently in December they're going to be rolling out a new U20. Well, it goes up to U22, so I think it's a U20 U22 event, but it's going to be a buy-in event, so it's not going to be like junior gold, but it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be different stops. I was talking to USBC last night and they kind of teased it out a little bit, but we don't have much information until they roll it out in December.
Okay. You've got a fan here on the stream named Josh Peters. It says great information and see you guys in a couple hours. So
Yay!
yeah, great. It'd be good to see you, Josh. Stop on by, say hello.
Josh just went down to Ron Hicklin and EJ Tackett did a class down in Kentucky.
Okay.
So he just drove down last week to go that. He's a big motive guy.
Okay.
And of course, EJ being a motive rep,
Oh yeah.
probably the
The
motive rep.
Yeah.
And I said after going to Jayhawk this last week, I wish I would have gone with Josh down to that event too to see what Ron Hicklin teaches and Ron Hicklin Jr. Ron is on our board for IMSIA. And that's kind of my deal, trying to get out to these different places to see what they're teaching and how they're teaching it. And we're trying to put together, and we've talked about this before, we're trying to put together I don't like the phrase dumbed down, but a more simple version.
Yeah.
A simple version. So that when these high school kids and even college kids, when they have the nugget in their hands, they understand how it's drilled.
Yeah.
So, and then just the being able to communicate with your ball driller.
Yep.
You go on to YouTube, and even the difference between different drillers, they'll talk about rolling up early versus getting the ball farther down the lane, or a stronger ball versus rolling up early, which a lot of times people think a stronger ball is something that goes late and hits hard.
Right.
Because they see it hitting hard at the end. And really, a stronger ball is something that rolls up early.
Yep.
So little things like that where they can get together and communicate better.
Keep talking. Keep
Okay.
telling us about this stuff. I'm just trying to get a look at the
leaderboard.
The leaderboard
You probably
here.
have the leaderboard up, yeah.
They just put that up.
Yeah, Ron actually owns Creating the Difference. And I think in the industry, the claim to fame would be his Aberlon pads. They're not called Aberlon pads, and I really apologize. We'll look it up and we'll figure out what it is.
I think they're called True Cut.
True Cut?
I think so.
They seem to be the most popular pad in the industry. I know when I was at Jayhawk, they were talking about when USBC tests the ball, they have determined, not on a spinner, but just in hand, a normal Aberlon pad after 2 minutes and 3 seconds of use is no longer the number on that Aberlon pad.
Uh-oh.
2 minutes.
Uh-oh.
So when
I've got a stack of used ones.
Well, and, it just depends on. Well, you'll see people with a stack, but it's because this is a fresh one. This one, this one's maybe 30 minutes in, and it's nothing anymore. But if it started out a 500 pad,
Yeah, you want that consistency.
Right.
Yeah, whether it's Aberlon, True Cut, or otherwise.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about, and I wish I would have asked more, but they were talking about Jayhawk has a diamond pad.
Okay.
And of course, diamond is never going to die. In fact, they said the backing will die before the surface dies.
Oh, wow.
So, like I said, I wish I would have asked more questions, but in the moment I didn't have time to. So
Sure.
you can see why I enjoy this job.
I can.
Well, not the talking job.
No.
My executive director job.
Yeah.
They're
It's
so-
cool to learn the new stuff and
I
stay
know.
up with the trends and all that good
I
stuff.
enjoy brain food. Really enjoy brain food.
Yeah.
You see who's off camera over here? Dawson Peterson with the hat on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Dawson Peterson should be bowling this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But the dummy decided to go hunting up in a tree, falls out of a 30-foot roost.
Oh, no. Oh,
Yes.
no.
In fact, the doctor told him he may need surgery.
Oh,
And he's probably one of our number one recruits coming out of the state.
oh, sure.
And so now he's going to have to rehab his way back in again. But
Yeah.
And he still hasn't, for college coaches that might be listening, Dawson Peterson still has not decided where he's going to go to college.
Okay.
So,
And if you're not familiar with his game, you can find the WYBT MJBT border battle on this channel. He was one of the Minnesota team members who competed against Team Wisconsin at Wagner's Lanes in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which is one of my home houses. We've got two there in Eau Claire, so I've got to claim them both, you know. But yeah, fantastic junior competition. That was Justin, its first go around this year. Glad to hear from oh gosh, who was it that said on our show that Zach Singer said that it was coming back to Wagner's this next year. So
nice. Is
so
it
that's really
Pat?
cool.
Pat who runs?
Pat Burkhardt.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
I have a funny story. Brian will kill me on this if he listens to it, but he won't. We were teaching, because I grew up teaching for Dick Ritker, traveled with him all over the United States.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was amazing. And that man was just an amazing person,
Yeah.
you know, and everybody said that, because he had 20 wins in just a small period of time that he was on the tour. And everybody said if he'd have been able to spend more time on the tour, you know, he would have been one of the greats also. I mean, I still consider him a great, but
Sure.
he just chose to spend time with family. So, but we were in Eau Claire teaching a class. It was Lonnie Olson and I and Briley, and the class got bigger than I had expected. And so I handed Briley a chart and I said, "Can you please chart these people? Lonnie will chart these people and I'll chart these people." Briley was 11 years old. This mom comes up to us and says, "I will not have my child. I paid to be in this class. I will not have my child charted by an 11-year-old." And by the end of that event,
Yeah.
she was calling Briley instead of me. She came up and apologized. She's like, "I completely understand now. He's way beyond his years." And I
Sure.
said, "Yes, he is an old soul."
Yep. You can see the leaderboard here after a couple games. If that's tough to read, I apologize. I took a photo from a distance, but it's Phil Stellmaker, who we saw on our pair a game ago, plus 23. Matt Payne close behind at plus 13. And Elijah Raymond plus 4. And the aforementioned Briley Howe at minus 8. And Cody Larson, I believe that is minus 16. So, yeah, spares at a premium. And, you know, how many times can I say it? It's a tough pattern. They don't, they don't call it a U.S. Open pattern, because it's easy.
Well, then you look at it, and there are quite a few, we'll call them newer dabblers in this tournament. And the newer dabblers maybe don't have the experience on where to start on the pattern,
Sure.
how to play a pattern, which is going to take a pattern that an expert is going to understand and break it down differently.
Sometimes. Even the experts have a tough time on patterns of stuff sometimes.
I said, I used to laugh because even when my kids were younger, they're like, "Mom," and they would make the top 200 for junior gold. And when there's 1,400 bowlers, 200, I consider that our top 2% of the nation. You
Sure.
know? And a lot of times it makes 64. My other son, Brennan, finished 5th one year.
Wow.
So they finished up there all the time.
Yeah.
But both of them would say, it's just not as fun as team trials, because team trials, the majority of the people at team trials all know how to play the patterns.
Sure.
And so they understand how, and everybody can see how something's going to break down, and it normally breaks down the way it should.
Yeah.
And like Brennan, my older son, he said, Mom, at junior gold, it depends on who you're following and who's on your squad.
Sure.
You know, and I can remember one time Wesley Lowe, hilarious. He comes up to me, and this is early on in our relationship, of meeting him. And he goes, Terry, do you know that guy over there? He's from Minnesota. He's wearing a Minnesota shirt. And Wes was following him. And I said, yeah. And he goes, do you think he'll be offended if I explain to him how we need to play the lane? I said, no, coming from you, having won junior gold, having been one of the youngest to shoot 300 in the world. Offend away. Yeah. And so that's some of the strategy that goes on behind the scenes at junior gold. You know, the smarter kids most of the kids at junior gold do not realize that there are ball reps standing behind to answer your questions. There are collegiate coaches standing behind to answer your questions. A lot of them don't know that.
Yeah.
When my son Brennan made the top 5, we saw, actually when he made about the top 16 cut, I think it was, we saw those people now that came up, and they were helping different people. And Mike Calderon at the time said, he used to be an international ball rep for Ebonite. Now he has the B3 performance in
Arizona.
In Arizona, Phoenix. Yeah. And, he said, does Bean, is my son's nickname, Bean. He goes, Bean want a new cover? Does he want fresh cover? And we're like, yeah, absolutely. And so they're there all tournament, but people don't know and don't. Again, why do we need these classes?
Yep.
Why do we need these classes? I was talking to John at Jayhawk, and I said, John and Russ Wilson, I said, we need to put together a kit for this class. And what we need to do, maybe we have a kit 1 and a kit 2 and a kit 3. And we teach them how to use everything that's in kit 1.
Sure.
Teach them how to use everything in kit 2 and kit 3. And he's like, that's an amazing idea. Because just like what I said to you, how many people in the world know that an Aberlon pad is no longer a 500 grit Aberlon pad after 2 minutes and 3 seconds of use? Right.
Well, only the viewers on the stream.
Everyone listening to us.
Exclusive information.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. It's, I think of myself. I've been in this sport for 30 plus years, and a lot of that stuff is new, A, because I haven't taken the time to learn it.
Right.
And B, because it's constantly changing. There's constantly new ideas and new tech and all that stuff that makes this a, what is it? Easy to excel, impossible to master.
Yes.
Type of deal.
Well, it's funny because, Dell and I knew each other back in the day. We weren't best of friends. We didn't hang in the same circle, so to speak. But about 10 years ago, he called me up and he's like, Terry, you could be a gold level coach. And I have one of your kids and he knows nothing. And I said to him, I go, wait a minute. And it ended up being a regional terminology issue. Mm-hmm. And once he figured out that, he's not understanding what I'm saying, the
changes everything.
The kid made select team.
Sure.
So, and he goes, you really opened my eyes to the fact that there's more than just, because here's what I said to him. I go, Dell, when is the last time you've been to Minnesota? And this was about 10 years ago. And he goes, I don't think I've been there for 10 years. And I said, okay, by the time you guys invent things in Florida, teach it down there, get it out to your regions, and then it gets to us, it's 2 years later and you're already inventing new things.
Right.
And he said, I am so sorry. And he comes up now twice a year, every year.
Oh, cool.
He comes to our combine every single year. Oh, this year, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before the combine, which would be I think it's 7th, 8th, and 9th of December. He is going to be teaching a speed and release class here. So it's their Masters 3 class.
Okay.
He's going to be teaching that here, and that flyer should be out this week. So watch.
Cool.
For it.
There you go.
We've already
Breaking
done.
news.
Yeah, it is. I just booked it with him.
Awesome.
Because usually when he comes up here for the combine to kind of help offset his costs, we try to put in a class somewhere. And so he said, how about we do speed and release? Because we need to get one up there anyway. I've not done one up there. So it will be right here at Spare Time Entertainment.
Cool. And, ahead of that, if you want to get some more background on Dell and what he just does for the sport and his own story, go back in this channel's history. Going Jazzy is an episode we did with Terry, who brought Dell on to speak a little bit about her. And we did an episode with him called Life Lessons. I believe it's around episode 50 or 51. And he's a great storyteller. He's had such robust experiences in this sport, from coach to high-level competitor. He told about the last time he had dinner with Mo Pinnell.
I know.
And it almost brings tears to your eyes, and you're not friends with either of them, but it's powerful stuff, and it's right here on the channel, and I'd encourage you to take a look. We have a new set of competitors here on our live stream pair. I see Brent Newman is walking through the shot right now. Kiefer Newman up on 11 on the left side of your screen. Derek Kozlak and Nate Waldhauser are our 4.
I thought he was Brent's brother.
I'm glad you said something, because I didn't know either way.
They are not, evidently.
Okay.
And don't they look alike?
They kind of do, yeah. Yeah, they kind of do.
Al,
Yes,
you said Brent and Kiefer are not brother.
they are not.
Oh.
No, they are not.
Are they even
Okay.
from the same area?
No, Kiefer's from Winona, Brent's from the metro area.
Kiefer's from Winona.
Yep, we call them brothers, though.
Isn't it funny, though? They look like brothers.
They almost kind of do, honestly.
Well, even Andrew thought.
They're probably related some long, way back. Who knows? They just don't know about it. How's it going over here?
Good.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to ask you how this is going so far.
It's pretty brutal out there, it looks like.
Yeah.
I think after 2 games, we have three guys plus. I like making them tough, though.
I think we saw 1 220 game on this pair.
Yep, I seen 1 2. I think 240 is the high game. Oh no, I gotta keep going that way. But sounds
There you
good.
go. All right, thanks, Al. Al Houston, tournament director here at the Champions Pro Shop Open. And, of course, you heard from Terry Howe with lots to say, and that interesting nugget about Del Warren coming here in another couple months to teach a class here at Spare Time Lanes. Dell, of course, the well-known coach at Weber International University. Terry's back.
We were talking about Gary Stotts and high school bowling.
Yeah.
I found someone who can sit down and talk to you.
All right.
Scott Furch, she's longtime high school coach here, but
Yeah.
he grew up with Gary.
Have a seat, Scott.
All right. Gary sucked me into this.
Of course. She has a habit of doing stuff like that,
She
doesn't
does.
she? Yeah. I haven't known her long, but over that short time, I've learned that you end up being voluntold now and then.
Voluntold, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Yeah. Scott, tell us about the team that you coach and the program.
Well, I'm a former coach. I
Okay.
retired from coaching the high school program, but as Terry talked about, Gary Stotts, who built this bowling center here,
Mhm.
he was a longtime proprietor here in Owatonna, and he started high school bowling back in 1983 for Minnesota,
Sure.
and along with Rochester schools and Austin.
Okay.
And they're big proponents of youth bowling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fantastic here. I'm a product of Robbinsdale Armstrong, so
Awesome.
I was up to my ears in it for 4 years. But having those kids in a different situation, in a Baker situation, through those high school matches is so valuable. I mean, it really teaches them a different aspect of the sport.
Absolutely. It's all about teamwork.
Yeah.
And then Gary's wife, Mary, she was my first coach. She was our youth coach back in the 70s
Okay.
and the 80s. And then that's why I became a coach myself, because of her.
Cool.
Yeah.
How you liking this so far?
Oh, this is fun. I'm glad I'm spectating.
Right. It's a lot easier back here, pointing out the shortcomings than getting out there and doing it. But it's a tough pattern, and it's interesting. We saw Nick Heileman over here just really chucking it at the pocket and staying clean, filling frames. And sometimes that's what you have to do.
Correct. Especially on this shot.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Are there any, and I'm looking around. I mean, obviously most of these folks are from Minnesota. Do you see any products of any of the high school programs? Just on first
Riley,
look?
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Zach Clayton,
Littler,
maybe?
he was a collegiate bowler.
Yep. Okay. Clayton Moore, maybe?
Yeah,
Yep.
Clayton as well.
Okay.
The next squad, we're going to have a lot more of the former high school bowlers and
Okay.
bowlers.
Cool. Yeah, and we will be live streaming that also. You can find that video link on the playlist for the quadruple crown. But 6 games in each qualifying round, and they will be re-oiling after this round finishes, so the other folks will get a taste of the fresh as well. Terry was talking about kind of the evolution of things at this center and how it's grown through the new ownership, and kind of balancing that line between bowling for entertainment and bowling for competition and for score. I would imagine, going across the state, you see proprietors kind of fighting that battle constantly.
Correct.
Yeah. It's, it's something that we all face and we all have to embrace, because that's where the future of our sport is going to come from, is everybody kind of taking a piece, I guess.
Yeah, it's really fun to see how it's really growing here, and Owatonna bowling is getting back on the map again. And it used to be really big here, and then we had a dry spell there for a while, and now we're back.
Yeah.
And we have fun leagues, and we have highly competitive leagues too. And then now we're getting lots of tournaments.
Yeah.
Thanks to Al and Briley.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It seems like there's one almost every weekend.
Yeah, for all skill levels too. And good to see the high level bowling here in Owatonna.
For sure. Yeah. You're watching Kiefer Newman up on the right here. And again, one of many playing that outside line that seems to be the preference for most, if not all, on this pattern. I believe we're starting game 4 now, so they should have score updates pretty soon through 3. This is funny. It's kind of a tug of war behind the scenes. Scott's trying to get Terry back in here, and Terry's trying to get away.
Might get out of jail card.
Hey, okay. No. Here's what I want you to tell the listeners.
Yes.
I said there are at least 3 eagles in this house. Can you explain to them what eagles we have and what accomplishments we have in this house? I mean, this house used to have
eagles, not egos.
We used to have, a million pictures up in the hallway before it was renovated. And you saved all those pictures. You are also our historian and head of our Hall of Fame, president of our USBC. Scott can talk longer while I go get coffee.
Well, you heard your orders.
Yeah, yes, I did.
Just sitting here, I know Al has one of them. One of those eagles.
And I'm not sure who the 3 eagle holders are altogether, but
Okay.
I know we have rich history of phenomenal bowlers from
Sure.
Owatonna, and Chad Nelson, Dan Bach, and Dan and Dave Langer, and the list goes on. Dave Ullman, and
Yep.
yeah, lots of good bowlers
Yeah.
through the Owatonna program. And
You just filled the kind of team that I want nothing to do with because those are some heavy hitters. You can see an example of Chad bowling at one of the MSC events in one of the shorts on this channel, where he was the runner-up finisher at Dracula's to Brian Thielen, who took that one. But yeah, Chad and Dan, Dave Ullman's constantly making noise in both MSCs and CBAs. But yeah, it's cool to see those guys, although, you know, they're getting on the older side of the competitive group, still putting up plenty of a fight in events like a CBA where you've got a lot of younger, high rev guys.
And it's nice to see that you talk about the CBAs and looking at that next generation coming in, how good they are and how many of them there are. It's nice to see. There was a gap for a while, and it's good to see now that it's coming back in.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are tough tournaments. I bowled one. I think it was about 23 years ago. I don't want any part of that. Don't need that smoke anymore. But no, it's phenomenal to have a tour like that here in Minnesota, and, you know, the encouraging the local talent to get out there and compete, long formats.
And then back to the Owatonna bowling, we just mentioned, you know, all those guys. Well, their parents were all awesome bowlers too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been generation after generation here, and in our Hall of Fame, there's many second generation and third generation bowlers that are in the Hall of Fame, along with their parents and their grandparents in the Owatonna Hall of Fame.
Cool.
Rich history.
Yeah.
Of competitive bowling here.
Yeah, that's great to see. And, you know, coming from, you know, a smaller community in Wisconsin, it you know, it really pleases you to find the little pockets where you've got high level bowling. You know, there's not taking anything away from the Twin Cities or from Milwaukee or anything like that, the bigger cities where you've got tons and tons of talented bowlers. But in these smaller communities, and I'll, you know, put this out there every chance I get, there are some really good players.
There are.
Yeah. Looks like we're in the sixth frame here on our live stream pair. And again, game 4 of our 6-game qualifying. They've just got, looks like a score update up there. I'm going to try and snap a picture so I can bring you those scores. But Scott, if you're uncomfortable, you don't have to stay here.
Do I look uncomfortable?
You're laughing. You're laughing like I hit the nail on the head.
You did. Thank you.
I appreciate
Nice
the
to meet
time. Good to meet you too. Oh, thank you. In just a second, I'll get you those scores here. So again, game 4 of 6 in the A squad of qualifying here at the Champions Pro Shop Open at Spare Time Entertainment Center in Owatonna, Minnesota. Terry Scott could not get away fast enough.
Which is, he's very chatty, but he's like, it makes me nervous. He goes, that guy's important. I'm like,
What?
he goes, you do this all the time. I'm like, it's no different than, I mean, you and I could talk for a gazillion hours.
Sure. All right, so here
Scott
is
has such a depth of knowledge too in this industry. Get
Yeah.
him going, and it maybe would have taken me to get him going. Maybe we'll try him later.
We've got plenty of time. So here's what it looks like after 3 games. Matt Payne has jumped in the lead with a 208 in game 3. Phil Stellmaker with a 193 right behind him. Briley Howe, Cody Larson, Elijah Raymond round out the top 5. Again, it's plus 21 leading this, so it's anything but a score fest right now.
Elijah Raymond is originally from Austin. I believe he's living in Owatonna now. Originally from Austin, Minnesota, but he was a high school player and believe he bowled collegiate for Midland.
Okay.
I think. So I know we have on the next squad, Taylor Corner will be bowling the next squad. He did bowl all 4 years for Midland. So there are quite a few collegiate players, and that's what I'm excited about is, you know, we discussed this the last couple of days too. We seem to be losing so many collegiate players, and I just think it's because there's not enough excitement behind what happens when you come off all of that energy at college and college competitions, and then you're going to bowl with dad on Thursday night. It's just, you know, we all love our fathers. I love bowling with my dad, but it's just not the same, you know? And you can kind of recreate it in singles events, but I said I'd like to start a regional Baker tournament, maybe for Ipsia. You heard it here, folks.
Okay.
When I hold my finger up like this that nobody can see, my idea finger.
That's something important.
Normally people run. we have an entire tournament team here in this building to run tournaments. You have you see Mark Hill, who's behind the counter. He's pretty much our statistician, keeps us all balanced. Al and Briley normally run the tournaments. Today, Briley's bowling, so Al's running the tournament. I'm normally here too, running the tournament or working on prize money, separation of prize money, or live streaming. Today, I did not put 2 and 2 together. When I was texting you last night and you're like, well, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm thinking we were doing the end of the competition. So I'm kind of lazily working my way into the bowl today.
Yeah. And Al was like, you know, don't feel like you need to be here for the whole thing. You know, it's a long thing. No.
It's fun, though.
We'll get you through it. Yeah.
Especially with a group like this and so much history in this group.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my train of thought and where I was going, but
Well, I can tell you that Brent has had a top 5 finish at the Chippewa Valley Match Games a couple of years back. Clayton Moore's a regular there. You see him off to the right there. Also, fierce competitor from the Minnesota Junior Bowlers Tour days when older guys like me did those.
well, wait a minute now. Older guys like you puts me in the antiquated stage. Antiquated category. But it's good though, because our knowledge, like I know the 50s, 60s, 70s, and I know the 20s to 30s.
Okay.
And then you're kind of in the middle.
I'm trying to fill that gap,
Yeah.
of course. You know, there was a lot of TV in there in the middle, so tough to find time to bowl and do cool stuff like this. But yeah.
But this is a good mixture of talent, and the second shift looks even better. And they do have the bowl back option in this.
Okay.
So my guess is the second shift is going to be very busy.
So again, if you see some of these folks on the B squad, then you know that they chose to bowl back a maximum of 54 entries in each squad. So not necessarily different bowlers, but entries.
Right. I'm very proud of what Al and Riley are doing together. Originally when I went to hire Al, I didn't choose to hire him. He was working for another company, and I said, why don't I just put a value sheet together for you? I said, this is kind of industry wide, and I said, maybe this would help you just increase your value with your current company. Because the last thing, like Riley and I both, our whole family is you never burn bridges, ever burn bridges. But when Al looked at that, he just said, I want to work with you guys. And it didn't have as much to do with what he was going to make. It was more that he wanted to work with us, which was exciting because I told him probably 2 or 3 years ago that he was going to be my replacement in this industry because he's just an amazing person that cares and has so much passion for this industry. And you understand.
Yeah.
Look what you're doing. How many people are doing this around the region? We're not even going to say
Some.
state. Not very many.
Some. I like to think that I do it a little differently than most, but yeah, you got to have this because there's interest in it.
But you have to have a passion to do it.
Right.
And it's very hard to find a passion replacement. Not many people are going to want to put the time and energy on the road that you and I did.
Sure.
I mean, I only had to come 20 minutes away and I was late to get here. You came from 2 hours away.
And and you balance family and stuff like that and work and it gets to be a lot.
I was lucky because I had my kids to go to all these events with. People are like, how come you're spending oh my gosh, you're live streaming all the time. But it was fun spending time with my children. Yeah. And all of their friends, I said, I spent 20 years in mortgages. I worked for 100 agents at one time. I know you can hardly imagine that with my personality, right? But I said, it got so crazy and so stressful. And it was funny because I would walk in the bowl. Faribault was our home house at the time. And I would walk in the bowl and this boy would come up to me and say, I think he was in 9th grade. He would come up to me and he'd say, I heard you're a good coach. Will you work with me? And he wasn't getting along with the head coach. Not getting along. He wasn't communicating with the head coach for the high school team at the time.
Okay.
And I think I turned him down like 4 times politely. Finally, the 5th time, he caught me in a weak moment. And here I sit.
Yeah.
And that guy is now in this building. Oh, he's right behind us over here, Taylor Corner.
Oh, yeah.
He's now like close to 30. And he laughs at me when I tell that story, but he's the reason I'm back in this industry.
That's cool.
I mean, my kids probably would have eventually got me back a little bit, but when Taylor asked me to come back, well, then I thought, well, I better at least sub in a league, because I wasn't even bowling. I hadn't bowled for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
He said, I better at least sub in a league, which led to then full-time in a league, which led to, well, I better bowl somewhere else too. So then I go to Cedarville on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Well, then I was bowling Monday night at Concord, Tuesday night in Faribault, Wednesday night in Albert Lee, Thursday night.
When it rains, it pours. I mean, yeah, if I had it my way, I might bowl 3-4 nights a week, but my body would tell me that's not so good. And my wife wouldn't say it that way. She'd say it more diplomatically, but.
Well, and the more you bowl, the stronger you get. And so then that just took my knowledge level to a different level. And then I ended up being the high school coach, the head coach. And we grew our high school team to about, I think 74 was the highest we had on the high school team.
Okay.
And we had, I think, 8 JV teams and 1 varsity. And at one point, It was 4 or 5 of our JV teams made state,
Wow.
along with our varsity team.
Okay.
So it was an incredible program.
Sure.
And now there are hardly enough bowlers there. And this goes back to what it takes. What it takes. You know, it's asking every kid that comes in the building, hey, how old are you? Oh my gosh, you could be on our junior varsity team. There's a girl in Faribault. She was in like 3rd or 4th grade when I was the one who started the junior varsity for high school bowling. And I said to Josh Hodney, I said, we need to capture the 4th through 6th graders.
Yeah.
Because once they get to 7th grade, they've already dabbled in too many sports, right? So let's catch them early. And I said, I think I'm going to call it the developmental team. And this little girl, Courtney, she says to me, now she's also probably 25, but she says to me, she goes, Miss Terry, I don't want to be called mental. So that's why we called it the junior varsity.
There you go.
Instead, the JJV.
Yeah.
So now our entire conference, the South Central Conference, we have a very solid JJV, which is then a developmental team for our high school. So this conference is very strong.
Yeah. And then you get other kids of that age seeing what's going on. They see, their older counterparts moving their way up to the high school team. And then it's, I want to do that. And now you've got something.
Exactly. But again, it takes someone thinking about every person walking in the door.
Yeah.
Every person. Every person that walks in this door has a value to this bowling center. You just need to, everybody's got a good story. You just need to listen.
Yes.
Listen. One person said to me, oh, the almighty Terry Howe is bussing tables. And I said, yeah, because that's how I find out what everybody here wants. They're not going to come up to the counter and say, oh, by the way, our lane runner was slow tonight. Especially if it's me, they're not going to want to complain.
Sure.
I don't mean that in a pompous way. I just mean they don't want me to leave and go home unhappy. They'll maybe tell me a couple days down or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm out there, they can say, lane 1 and 2, lane 2 is acting goofy, not dropping the 5-pin or something.
Sure. Because it's in the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, our wait staff hasn't been down here for a little bit. Well, I can't correct that if I don't know about it.
Right.
I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to everyone. And then there's the occasional walk through and go, oh, are you bowling the tournament? Bowling the tournament this weekend. Well, I gained probably 5 or 6 people for this tournament by walking through last week.
Yeah.
So that's why I say over and over again, it's a lot of energy. We better recap on these 10th frame finishes over here.
Yeah. And I missed his name, but he just ended up with about 210, 208. Okay. And that's Derek Kozlak.
Riley.
Waldhauser with a 166. And the 2 Newmans finishing up there. Kiefer with a double and Brent trying to turn his 9th frame hit into a double.
This is definitely a marathon tournament.
Sure.
Picking up spares are so important today.
Yep.
So important. Hopefully the people bowling the second shift aren't watching.
You can see how far right Brent is. He's almost hovering over the ball return when he throws that first shot.
He almost looked like he was angling in. I couldn't see it exactly, but
yeah,
it almost looked like he was crossing second arrow this way.
Right, pointing it up at the head pin rather than going straight up the boards or pushing it right.
Almost deeper than straight up the boards. I didn't look at the pattern. I wasn't not familiar with it, but oh, Brent.
Oh, push that one by. Well, it just so happens that we have it right here. So
Oh, yay.
yeah, it's
Oh, my
the
gosh.
2023 U.S. Open pattern number 1,
So
49
that is
feet long.
really, really dependent on how these people are playing it.
Yep, absolutely.
Are there any boards to the outside at all?
Maybe 1 or 2.
No.
And
That would make sense why you've
that's-
seen a few people
yeah,
playing
playing the gutter.
sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. So $182 for Brent Newman, and Kiefer just finished a shade over 200, 207. So
What game is this?
that's the end of game 4. So 2 more games left in this A squad.
Oh, I had someone text me and ask if they want to comment on here.
Yes.
How do they do that?
So all they need to do is they have to have a YouTube or Google account. So if they have a Gmail or they have a Google account, on the upper right, they just need to log in under that account, and then it will allow them to chat live, to comment, all that stuff.
So on Facebook, if they're watching it on Facebook, there'll be a Google attachment.
It's not on Facebook.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Yep. It's all linked back to YouTube.
Got it.
Yep.
That's what someone had asked too. Where is it on Facebook? And I said, I'm not sure. I haven't asked.
Yeah, I'm a YouTube exclusive live streamer, but
Dan Saylor has shot back-to-back 800s in our house this week.
okay.
Left-hander. So he's going to be on our pair. He's a
And-
math teacher here in Owatonna.
Oh, cool. All right.
Love him to death.
Joining him, you've got Zach Ludemer and Elijah Raymond.
Yeah. Zach works in our pro shop here. He works for Federated Insurance.
Oh.
He came down from the Myers up in Alexandria.
Okay,
So he worked with, I think, Matt Meyer in the pro shop
cool.
prior to. And now he works in the pro shop, I think, on Thursday nights. Thursday nights early, maybe, and Wednesday night.
Okay.
Federated Insurance has a league for their employees that they pay for.
The company pays for it.
The company pays
Oh,
for
cool.
a lot of activities. The company pays for 50% of their activities.
Okay.
And so Zach, working there, Zach bowls that league also. And then he makes sure he's in the pro shop, and he makes sure that he is accessible to all the federated people.
Okay.
So he pretty much single-handedly takes care of that. And that's, I think, a 16-team league.
Wow.
So, yeah,
All right.
very, very fun league.
Yeah.
It's like happy hour.
You got to have some fun with it, right?
I know.
Yeah.
And they do. They have a great time. And I wish more. I said I'm going to try to reach out to more HR departments to see if we can't get more of that, because, even like the third shift people, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember in Faribault, we used to have 2 centers that had like 8 a.m. leagues for those people coming off their, third shift
Sure.
jobs. And Owatonna is a big factory town. So.
Yeah. This is Briley House stepping up on 11 here.
He and all his cronies have their new T-shirts, their Champions Pro Shop T-shirts.
Yeah, decidedly different approach than a lot of the folks we've seen come through so far. Going more inside out than straight
Inside
up the
out
gutter.
and fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
Very fluffy. Though the one thing, like even his speed was slower. And I said, with your kids, you work all your life to try. Well, okay, I'm a coach, so I work when they were younger.
Yep.
To get their rev rates up. And Brendan's rev rate, his rev rate's probably about 350, but he's more of a stroker. Riley, I call him a hybrid because he's actually a hybrid between a a one-hander and a two-hander. He's a one-hander with a two-handed delivery.
Okay.
There's Dan Saylor we just saw. He's the one that just shot back-to-back 800s this last 2 weeks. In fact, I think he went 299, 299, or 290, 90. Dan, what was your score this last week? 823 with two 290s?
Oh.
Two 290s, yeah. And he's a math teacher, people. We love math teachers that are successful.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were talking about Briley. He's a little bit more of a hybrid. If you watch him, he's a one-hander, but he's got a two-handed delivery. Like when he gets way up high with his follow-through, the ball comes down first and he gets under the equator a little bit more, and then he comes up and through the shot more like a two-hander would. So,
Okay.
and his rev rate when he went to Team USA was 500 plus
Wow.
for a one-hander, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, the first time he got in front of Brian O'Keefe, Brian's like, "That's great, but now I want you to feel 400 and I want you to feel 300. So in case you get into a situation like this, where you can tell Briley's rev rate is lower, his speed is slower, which I'm assuming being he's in the top 3 or 4, it must be what this shot needs.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but I said, people are so focused on more rev rate, more speed, more rev rate. And realistically, it's the diversification, the flexibility. Oh, nice try, Zach.
Yeah. More than just the classic 2 adjustments of throw it harder or turn it more.
Right. So I remember Elijah's last year bowling junior goal. It was Elijah, Brennan, Connor Jacobson, Taylor Corner. I don't know. I had a Suburban and every seat was full. We added one of those handicap ramps to the back.
Yeah.
And had a big tarped package of bowling balls in the back of the van. And that was so much fun. And I think we bowled, I want to say we went to Detroit. So it was 14 hours with how many crazy boys in the car?
And how many bowling balls? That's the better question.
Yeah, exactly. Elijah.
Because is there a limit at Junior Gold to how many you can
When you went with us to Junior Gold, how many bowling balls do you suppose we had in our Suburban?
Me, Connor, Logan, Bean, Riley. There had to be like 60,
Yeah.
60, 70.
What?
I just remember it being
But I said we were so squished into that van or into that Suburban, but oh my gosh, was that fun?
everybody was jam-packed tight.
I know.
Yeah, bowling balls like right in the front seat.
We had bowling balls everywhere in that car.
Yeah.
Actually, your question, you said, does Junior Gold have a limitation? Yes, it's a limitation of 5 bowling balls.
Okay.
But
you can narrow it down. You bring a bunch
little.
and narrow it down to the 5.
In fact, I know more than 1 year, Riley limited himself to exactly 5 that he
Okay.
took along. Reason being is Riley's a chronic overthinker. That's the hard part of
That
his
prevents
game.
that, yeah.
And it would sit in his mind if he thought, oh, I should have grabbed that one instead of that one.
Right.
So when he worked with his mental coach, Brian Helen, that was just one thing they experimented with. And he finished very high every year. So, it's what your personality is.
Yeah.
But the first day at Junior Gold, the practice squads, there's a lot of people that'll come in with 15 bowling balls, 5 strips.
Sure.
And they'll start trying to whittle it down to what 5 they're going to have. And, I feel bad for the kids that are instructed that they absolutely need to have a plastic ball to pick up spares, because that is a tournament that if you take your plastic along for spares, you're taking one ball dynamic away. So I think really the kids out there need to learn both ways. I mean, if the spare ball is absolutely their pacifier, then they're going to have to deal with, all right, you have 4 ball dynamics to use. But if they can learn to just open their palm and pick their spares up consistently with, a normal ball, I think they're better off.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's just, like I said, it just opens the door to another ball dynamic that you can have in your bag. So
Sure.
sometimes you need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the addition of the purple, that kind of became people's spare ball.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
although we were talking about durometer readings on the purple, and down at Jayhawk, they were saying that when that ball is out of the box, the durometer reading is like 72, 73, somewhere in there. But they said after use, the more use that thing gets, they've seen readings like as low as 68, 66, 4. I mean, and they're not conclusive exactly why. Is it because the oil sits on the top and when the durometer goes in, it'll push farther because of the oil? But you can tell that's why. Actually, if you go back, everybody's so excited about the purple. Actually, the pitch black was probably your first purple.
Okay.
Same kind of thing. Did the same thing. Red at 72 and kind of got softer as you used it, I guess. So.
Yeah.
See, unless I sit down with you, there are all these things in my head that have no use.
You just need the megaphone to get them out there to the world.
Sometimes I wonder why I listen to things. Riley, got to have the tournament on.
Yeah.
Turn the television on while you're bowling this major tournament. Yeah, Dan I would give anything to have Dan's length.
Yeah.
Just, the ball's halfway to the head pin by the time he lets go with between his 6-foot legs and his 5-foot arms. And again, just what a great personality. I love the people we have here in this center. Just fun, supportive people.
See, so Briley's coming off a couple strikes on this left lane. That one up high for a split.
Well, he obviously has found something right there.
Yeah.
What it is, we're not sure.
And it's, the thing I think about is I look up and down the house, which is easy to do because we're in a section of about 12 lanes here. 14 lanes. And you can see, it's not like there's a score here and a score there, but not, there isn't a pair that's really conducive to scoring right now.
Nope.
Because you sit here and you watch 140s and 160s and 170s, and you think, well, is this just the tougher pair? But it's not. They're all tough.
We were talking about this too because these Brunswicks are probably these lane beds are about, I want to say they're like 13 or 14 years old.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. See, now this would have been a Scott Furch question. He probably could have answered this very quickly.
He's sitting right there.
Scott, how old are these lane beds? 13? These are what? 98? Oh, so they are that old.
So 25 years.
I remember them being bouncy, though. Did they replace the heads? I feel like they changed something. Did they I don't know. Anyway. We were talking about it as these lane beds. I feel like he said 1998, but I feel like they changed something, not like within the last 10 years, and I don't remember what it was. But when they did that, the lanes came back as you'll notice like a double bounce on them.
Mhm.
They're a little bouncier.
Okay.
And we were talking about that at Jayhawk about some of the Brunswick lanes had a little bit of a defect with the installer, the frame underneath it, and they're a little bit bouncier.
Okay.
And it's funny because you'll see down to the left, Bradley does most of his ball testing and his videos he does in our little VIP section down there. And everybody makes fun of him for his double bounce on the ball. And it's like, he goes, I don't even correct him anymore, Mom. But it's just a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Scott did say they're 10 years old. Yeah, you're right. Because originally this was open 25 years ago, approximately.
Okay.
I think the center is actually 26 years old now.
Okay.
But that's what I thought. They did change the lane beds 10 years ago.
Were they synthetic from the start?
I think they were wood, and that's probably why they went to synthetic.
Gotcha.
Because I believe Fairlanes was wood.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Doesn't he have a beautiful game?
Yeah, he
He's got
does.
a beautiful game.
And Fairlanes is the other house in town?
It was the old house.
The old house in town.
Gary Stotts used to own the old house, and then he built this one.
Okay.
And he moved, this was 24 lanes, so he moved at least 16 of the lanes over from Fairlanes.
Okay.
So my guess is they were wood. That's probably why they went all synthetic.
Sure.
About 10, I would say it was probably more like 10 to 13 years ago, because I think the new owners, I call them the new owners, but I think the current owners, I think purchased about 13 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, this used to be 24 lanes. Then the owners that I said were not bowlers that wanted an FEC took out 6 lanes to put in our 3-level laser tag.
Okay.
And that's successful also. But now that we're building it back up again, we're like, can we buy the restaurant next door, please?
Yeah.
The good thing is they haven't said no.
Okay. There's a difference between a and a no way.
I know. And the more that we build this back up, the more fun it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our waitress is even a bowler today. We have Christina.
Yeah.
She works at the local radio station.
Oh, okay.
I said Christina works at the local radio station.
I do, Cows and Crew.
Okay. So you know a thing or two about being broke like I do.
Absolutely.
But you survive somehow. You get through
right?
it. Yeah.
Just keep on going.
Yeah.
As long as you do what you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I used to drive all the way up to St. Paul, to Hubbard, to do a show for FM 107.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I live north of here, but it was still an hour one way every week.
That's a healthy commute. Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a blast. Of course, it had nothing to do with bowling. It had everything to do with real estate, but
Okay.
that was the life I used to be in. And now I am very happily in this industry.
Yeah.
I said, people ask me, why did you leave the mortgage world? And I said, well, when you spend 7 hours and 59 minutes in intensive care and they're ready to paddle you because your heart rate won't go back to where it's supposed to be.
Maybe changes need to be made.
And then the doctor said, Terry, you don't do anything half-assed.
No?
You might have to bleep me there.
It's too late now. This is live.
You need to slow down, you know?
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you're so deep into an industry to slow down.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, it is.
And now I'm here.
Yeah.
But there was a hole here that was needed too, and meant to be
Mm-hmm.
built back up again.
Yeah.
Now we just need to get Faribault back open.
Okay.
The Faribault Bowling Center has gone through kind of a transition as of late from old ownership back to the contract holder, and that's what I would call my home house other than Duttler's in Mankato.
Okay.
And we're hoping that it reopens as a bowling center. But just as I stated before, how I hate the Walgreens because Walgreens searches out the smaller family bowling centers, and they're usually a 12-lane center is usually the size they need. Like they purchased Cloquet's Bowl and opened a Walgreens. So there's a lot of them across the country because where are the local family bowling centers? They're all right where Walgreens needs to be in the center of the city, right?
Yeah.
So right now in Faribault, there are two companies too that are kind of vying to just buy it and turn it into a parking lot. And so I hope it reopens as a bowling center, but
Sure.
I'm worried that it will not.
Alec wants to know where's Mike Peck. Says joined late, so didn't hear where he's at. Mike was here a couple games ago. I believe that's him on the end pair 17 and 18, perhaps. I think that's him. Yes, that is. He's in the concourse right behind 17 and 18, and it looks like they have finished their fourth game. But you're going to have to excuse me. I'm not sure which direction he's headed. I think he's been headed that way. It's confusing. We're 4 games in, and I've been concentrating on this pair of lanes, and it's
Are they
tough.
jumping too? I haven't paid attention.
I think they might be. Yeah, because Powers and Newman were over here, and they're on 7 and 8 right now, so it is two pairs, or skip a pair, or whatever you want to call it. Mike is actually up to bowl right now on 15. So you can kind of see his shot coming into frame right there. He's the one who left the 1, 2, 4, 8 on that last shot. With 2 more games, I'm not sure that we're going to see him here again, unless he bowls it back or makes the advancers right. But that's where he's at. And Alec, I appreciate you watching.
That's what we should have, a list of who's coming on to live stream.
Yeah.
Ooh, Riley. Okay. I was going to miss that. To your left over here is one of our lane runners, Gordon Irby, right over here.
Oh, okay.
He's wearing his champion shirt also today.
Yeah.
He's got the mic or the walkie-talkie.
Oh, okay.
He is a retired medical doctor.
Oh, cool.
And he loves bowling so much that he works here part-time.
That says a lot.
And yeah.
Oh.
He loves working with his seniors, so he works with the seniors on Mondays and Fridays, and then he's part of our tournament team.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's really funny because he moved down to Cedar Rapids, and he used to work with Andy Dirks and the Mount Mercy kids, and not as a coach, but he would bowl with them and such on bowling nights. And then he decided to move back up here because of his parents getting older. And he's like, really funny thing. He goes, your son went to emergency for something cold. And he goes, I asked him where he was from, and he said Faribault, and he saw the last name. He goes, your dad wouldn't be Bob, would it? So very funny.
Yeah.
So we got him here, and he works in the shop too. And,
Okay.
and I said, we got Mark Hill behind our computer back here. Just amazing.
Yeah.
We have Chris Jones is working in the back behind the scenes. He's one of the kids that came in very young, and we've converted him to a lifer on our team here. Great kid. His sister Kylie works here too. So
Okay.
we have a very fun, great team. But anytime we have a tournament, this entire team is on deck. And then we have Heather Blaha too. She was here earlier. She runs our youth league, but she also comes in. She's part of the team.
Okay. Elijah Raymond about to come up on lane 11 with some count. He can get up to 200 or even 201.
Nice finish.
Yeah, 201.
Now he was crossing. He was actually not a big angle, but he wasn't crossing second arrow towards the pocket.
Yep.
He was crossing second arrow. Not a big angle,
Right.
but fluffy. So and more successful.
Yeah. Found something that works. And
Riley was being fluffy, but I don't know, a little deep fluffy, but he's always got a plan.
sure. And after this many games, I mean, there are some changes out there, and you get to see who can kind of find it and
Right.
who can't. I'll tell you what I appreciate about this place is that the TVs are way up, because then I can stream this without worry of copyright infringement.
I never thought of that.
Not a lot of houses have that, so that's a plus in my book.
Well, I'm waiting
And,
for what is it, Bowl TV to come out? They've been talking about it for like 2 years. We were one of the first ones to sign up for it. And I think they said they needed like 1,000 centers or something in order
Okay.
for it to make sense. But the last 6 months, they've teased that it's coming, but I haven't. Not Bowl TV. It's through USBC, I believe.
Okay.
But it's like an advertising package that comes in.
Oh,
It'll advertise local, but it also advertise like what's happening with USBC.
okay. Haven't heard of that one.
I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah,
I'll look it up on my phone and see if I can see.
here you go. Life on YouTube and X. Evening from the UK, guys. Hope you are well. Thank you for joining us live. It's kind of cool that we're broadcasting in the evening in the United
Wow.
Kingdom. I
What
like
is
that.
it? Life on the YouTube and X.
X. Yep.
I know. I'm trying to think of his name. So Ramon Helferink is from the Netherlands.
Okay.
He's big over on that side of the pond. He does a lot with us, Ipsia-wise. He was also a Weber International kid.
Okay.
God, what was it? Nicholas Sunderholm is from Sweden. He does a lot with us too. He's an AMF rep over in the UK. I said that's the one thing that I didn't think about when I took the executive director to the International Bowling Pro Shop. And
Keep talking. I'm going to grab another pick of the scores here.
I said I didn't think about the fact that this company is actually nationwide. And when I first accepted the position, it was really fun to see how many people internationally sent thank yous and welcome aboard and excited to see you. So
Yeah.
it was fun meeting them at so last year the convention and expo were in Orlando.
Okay. Bowl Expo.
Yeah. Next year it's going to be at the Gaylord in Colorado.
Oh, all
It's
right.
very close to the 4th of July, so it almost needs to be a vacation event for people, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was fun last year because at the bowling convention, okay, let's explain this.
Okay.
The convention portion of it for Ipsia, it is sponsored by Ipsia. It's education for pro shops. It's also probably one of the largest showcases of the entire year for equipment. And then we go to Bowl Expo, and Bowl Expo is 2 days of anything bowling. And it is humongous. I mean, it's an entire convention center of anything you would need for bowling.
Yeah. Here are the scores, by the way. Matt Payne still leading things at plus 36. Riley just behind him. I believe that's plus, is that 23 or 33? 33. And then Cody Larson, Phil Stelmaker, and Zach Ludemer rounding out the top 5 right now at -9.
And that's after what game?
That's after 4.
So I said this year with Expo and Convention being in Colorado, it's kind of equidistant to a lot of places that normally wouldn't go to Vegas or to the coast, so to speak. And so I really think there's going to be a lot of people, even though it's kind of over the holiday. But if you're a bowler, it just it's you don't even have to be a pro shop owner or a bowling center owner. Just the education that you gather from all of this is just amazing. And this year we're going to have several classes on. We're going to do a class for pro shop POS systems. We're going to do a class on
Point of sale.
Point of sale, yes, thank you. And class on proper fitting. This year at the convention, we're going to do a 2-hour class just on roundtable discussions. So, like anything you'd want to discuss, pro shop books.
So Alec was looking for Mike Peck. Thankfully, he's right on our pair here, just about to get up there to try and pick up that spare on lane 12. And maybe you can help me with some of the other names here.
Yep, on lane 11 right now we have James Callahan.
Okay.
He's normally bowls out of the Faribault Center. And he's one of the guys that's been coming in here practicing lately. Again, wanting to do more of the sport shot bowling. And he's bowled for a long, long time. I can remember giving him lessons when I was probably in my late 20s.
Okay.
And that was a couple years ago.
Yeah. We'll go with that. And that's Matt Payne on 12. He's our tournament leader. I like how that lines up sometimes. You get the tournament leader and
Nice.
in the late going here, just happens to cross on the live stream pair.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
I don't know who the gentleman is
In the black. Yeah.
in the black.
Or grayish black.
Where is Mike Peck from?
I don't know where he's from, but I know Cher is watching, and Alec. Cher is from Nebraska, so Cher, maybe you can answer that. Do you know where Mike is from? Is he from somewhere around here or somewhere closer to you? Either way, she says, "Let's go, Mike," as he leaves a 4-pin on the left.
This would be a good class to teach. Just how to access some of these things as they're. I get so frustrated. I work for USBC, I work for the Bowling Proprietors, and I'm the executive director for IPSIA. And I go on and try to find an event, live stream or live scoring, and it's just like, okay, where is it today?
Yeah.
And my biggest pet peeve, because both of my kids have been on CBS Sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, to get CBS Sports is impossible.
Yep.
And I have cable.
Yep. I know.
Even with cable, it's impossible.
I
get spreading the wealth,
tough.
but come on. It's fun that they've been on CBS Sports, but I remember when my first son made
There you
the
go.
national.
Mike is from Sioux City
Oh, nice. Awesome.
and lives in Jefferson, South Dakota.
Nice.
Okay.
I threw my first
Thank you, Sher.
700 at Plaza Bowl in Sioux City, Iowa in 1984.
Okay.
Of course, I was only 2 at the time.
Right. We'll go with that.
No, I remember because the owner was Bruce Casper at the time. I don't know if the family is still there. He had a party for us.
Okay.
Because it was sectionals for collegiate. It was collegiate sectionals.
Oh.
And when I shot 700, they gave me a jacket.
Oh.
It said 700 Club on it.
Okay.
And that's how important a 700 was back then.
Right.
There weren't 800. 700s were a big deal, especially for a female. And I went on after that to have the highest series in the nation collegiately, and that was above Kim Carney and above Carolyn Dorn Ballard.
Wow.
So in the day, I said, I don't mean to sound negative, but there's a certain selfishness to continuing to be a professional bowler. And I don't mean selfishness in a negative manner. I mean selfishness internally.
Mm-hmm.
I was also the lead singer in a rock band. I also loved playing softball. I loved water skiing. So there was, you know what I'm trying to say? You have to determine bowling is going to be my life.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Kulick, a good example. Bowling is going to be my life. And it's very hard to enjoy other pieces. Like Kelly loves line dancing. That's the way she keeps her legs strong. She's an amazing line dancer. Amazing. She's also very funny, which is really funny because normally you only see business Kelly on the lanes.
Right. Or in the booth.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's actually hilarious. She knows every one-liner from every movie you can ever imagine. Like she looked at me one time and I said, I think there's a ghost in this building. And she goes, you mean a free-floating, full-torso vaporous apparition? Ghostbusters. Why do I remember that? Again, senseless things in the back of Terry's brain.
Hey, it works. So we've got Mike Peck shooting at a 10-pin on lane 12. Cher says Mike has been active in the bowling league at the Bowling Plaza in Sioux City for years and years. So
I wonder if the Bowling Plaza is Plaza Bowl.
Oh, could be. Well, certainly shows.
6 degrees up. We call it 6 degrees of Terry.
Staying clean through 3. So. And I'm going to go out on a whim and say if he's in South Dakota, he probably traveled the furthest to get here. No?
I would think so at this point.
Yeah. At least for this squad. We don't know what we're going to get next squad, but a lot of the folks here are Minnesota natives and not having to drive quite that far.
I think this earlier squad, is probably more local. But
and Alec is Mike's son and is a great bowler too, runs in the family. That's good to hear. I think, and off the top of my head, the only guest I've had on the show on this channel with South Dakota roots is Brooke Allen, who bowls on the PWBA and lives in southwestern Wisconsin now, but she grew up in Chamberlain, South Dakota, middle of the state there.
Okay, it's Bowling Center TV.
Bowling Center TV. Okay. And this is like an advertising package.
I guess. Okay. A national TV network that's strikingly different for advertisers and sponsors. So it's for bowling proprietors, bowling centers, and proprietors.
All right.
And I know they've been talking about it for a couple years, rolling it out.
Yeah. Edward wants to know if there's going to be a posting of scores. Edward, I can get you the latest that I have so far. Here's where we stand after 4 games. You've got Matt Payne on top, plus 36. Briley Howe at plus 33. And then Cody Larson, Phil Stelmaker, and Zach Ludemer rounding out the top 5. You get 1 of every 4, 1 in 4, that will end up making the advancers round, and that's this squad and next squad. There are 2 qualifying squads, so stick with us. You'll see all that action coming up later this afternoon.
And Ed Mahanuel, why are you not bowling the second squad?
Outed.
You should not be watching on TV. You should be here right now. But thank you for watching.
I kind of like that he's watching. Alex says his high game is $2.99. That'll do.
Ooh, we got 5 in a row down here on lane 13 and 14.
Yeah. That might be Phil Stellmaker. No, that was Ryan Powers.
Powers, yeah. I shouldn't have said anything. I jinxed him.
No. And Cher says, Terry, it's Plaza Bowl in Sioux City.
Yeah.
The Plaza Bowl.
That's
in
where
Sioux City.
that's where I shot my first 700.
Oh, cool. All right.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
See, 6 degrees up.
6 degrees. Yep.
I have been in this industry in so many facets for so many years that it usually ends up being 2 degrees up.
You get to know just about everybody somehow.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and Sioux City is like Sioux City, Iowa, Sioux City, South Dakota, and Sioux City, Nebraska. I think
Yeah.
there's
3 of them?
3 states in that city.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. It's very similar, I believe, with like Council Bluffs. We were at Thunder Bowl in Council Bluffs with the tournament a couple of years ago.
Right up against Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're right up, very close to Omaha there.
Sure. Oh. And I'm going to run over and grab those latest scores. I see the Game
Updated
5
scores.
scores up there. So.
It's a good group today, and it is very fun having Andrew here. Just adds energy to everything. And there goes Al. I love Al Houston. He's always got a smile on his face, and he just loves this world. You know, loves it. Just like me. Ooh, Matt Payne. And there's why Matt Payne is leading. Nice shot. I am not sure who the gentleman is on lane 11 to try to ask to see who that is. I almost feel like it should be for days like this, it should be a prerequisite that you wear a name shirt.
Even me?
For those occasional
Easy
times
for you
when-
to say, Jersey company owner.
That's not where I was going with
Ah, okay.
that. I just think, you know, it's like, especially when it's, you know, a regional tournament like this,
Yeah.
I love to get to know everyone. Like Dan Chambers, who is down on 5 and 6.
Mhm.
I want to say he moved up here from like Georgia. He just all of a sudden appeared on our radar.
Okay.
He transferred here for his job, I believe.
Okay.
And all of a sudden he turned up at our tournament. I'm like, who are you? Obviously, you have a very good game.
Right.
And where did you come from?
Not your first time.
No.
Yeah. So here are the scores after 5 games of qualifying. And thanks to, the gentleman at the desk,
Mark Hill?
for cluing me in that they're on Facebook. You can find him on the Spare Time Entertainment Facebook page. But Briley Howe up in the lead now, plus 27, followed by Matt Payne at plus 16, and Stellmaker, Larson, and Powers behind them. So again, just 2 players that are plus right now on this squad. Kind of shows you what what we're dealing with here. Josh wants to know if you'd like to sponsor him for a name shirt, but he followed it with an LOL.
Of course, Josh.
She was very measured with that response. Had to think about it for a little bit. Hey, there's Mike Hatton from That's What I Do Bowling. Wants to know how many squads there are. 2, Mike. And if you hurry up, what do you allow walk-ins for the second squad?
What was that?
You want to know how many squads there are. There are 2.
Right.
The B squad, I want to say, is 130.
130. Yep.
And do you allow walk-ins?
Yes.
Mike, get in your car. Throw your bowling balls in your car. You've got time. There's 2 hours. That's plenty of time.
If someone
on
is
down.
going to bowl, though, I would definitely call the bowling center, which is 451-2524 and let us know, because this squad, the guys on this squad that feel they want to bowl back are going to bowl back. And
Sure.
and
you
we are
could
only
be
allowing for
close.
so many.
Yeah, you could be close to capacity there. So, he can't bowl today. He's got league at 2:30 at Southtown. Well, tell the folks at Southtown we said hello. And you could try the Lacrosse Open next month.
This is true.
There you go.
Because I'm pretty sure out of the 4 tournaments, in order to be part of the the big money at the end, you have to have bowled 3 of the 4 tournaments.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
There you go.
Al along the way here as he buzzes by will confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Josh says he's joking, of course.
Ha! You didn't take me along to Kentucky. No shirt for you.
You almost had her on the hook there. I mean,
Mark London, of all people, is asking which live stream we are on today.
come on, Mark. You know. I wonder if he's trying to message me because I've got my phone on Do Not Disturb. Yep.
Because he would be helping us with this broadcast today.
I'm sure.
He's the only one that calls me Coach Who.
There you go. Thank you, Rich. Lou Dadoro is the gentleman in the black shirt.
And where is he from?
Yeah, if you know where he's from, Rich, let us know. He's bowling on our live stream pair right now with Mike Peck, Matt Payne, and Jim Callahan. And Josh says, hey, I offered a car ride.
Ha! Next time.
All right.
I said when I was at Jayhawk last week, or a couple days ago, actually, I wish I'd have gone with Josh down there. Josh, you were talking about it, and you know how my brain gets sometimes. You should have said, Terry, you're going with me.
Yeah.
Well, and it's been crazy because in July, I went in for a routine hernia surgery so that I could get back to bowling, and they ended up pretty much cutting me in half. In fact, today is the first day since July 7th that I haven't been wearing a compression band on my body.
Okay.
So I feel way behind on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So when people look at me and they see my eyes glazy, it's because I'm trying to get caught up. I finally feel like I'm getting caught up. But
Sure.
what should have been a couple weeks of downtime ended up being about 6 weeks of downtime. And for my personality, that does not work.
No, it's hard. I know.
I'm in bed with my
Yep.
with my phone going as fast as I can. In fact, I answered one person one time, and they're like,
There you go. Lou's from Rochester, Minnesota.
Oh,
So,
awesome. Why
there you
don't we
go.
know that person? Al knows that person, I'm sure.
I'm sure he knows them all. Yep.
Because Rochester's only about 40 minutes from here, maybe.
Josh says next time he will for sure.
Okay. Work harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh is motive, all motive. Very
Okay.
high rev rate. Josh is actually the nephew of Mike Waring, who owns Isani Bowl.
Oh, all right.
So, yeah. And he's down here because he works for Bosch Industries. So
Gotcha.
we have a lot of transplants because we have so many large, like Federated. Federated probably owns half of Owatonna.
Okay.
And then our main owner here owns the other half.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. Corey Michelson. The Michelson family owns a lot of Owatonna.
Yeah.
I think they own pretty much 2 blocks here.
Okay.
Everything around us. Their main industry, though, is the funeral home.
Oh, all
They
right.
used to own, I think about a dozen funeral homes around the state.
Wow.
And I think they've sold off about 6 of them. I'm probably close, but.
Okay.
And that's kind of a guaranteed money industry.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually, everyone becomes a customer.
But I'm not thinking there's many kids that we can get in college bowling that want to be morticians.
Right. Yeah.
That's the tough part. There's one gentleman that comes in here. His name is Leroy. He is the sweetest, cutest man. retirement age, right?
Okay.
He and his wife are just the cutest couple. But every time he walks in, I'm like, oh, the Grim Reaper's here. Because if he walks in the building, that means he's picking up food for the funeral. I'm like,
okay.
oh no.
Yeah.
We laugh. You have to laugh.
Yeah.
It's a circle of life, right?
That's right. So, yeah, you can see Matt and Lou both playing that shot that pretty close to where Briley was on this pair.
Kind of a little fluffy inside shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised Briley's leading because didn't he have a tough game his last game?
Let's see. He was 220, 190. I mean, yeah, he's, 190, 202, 219, 222, 194. He's just been staying right ahead of it.
Mark is at an event in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
And I think he is the announcer there. I read it. Kelly is down there as the. I can't remember. He told me what it was too. I don't remember. I'll ask him.
See, someday I'll get smart and increase my font size like yours is on my phone display.
I'm old. I keep telling you.
No. I always deal with this microscopic stuff. Yeah.
I know Mark said that he was going to be interviewing Kelly, and that Kelly was down there as as a celebrity.
Okay.
But I apologize. I can't remember what it was, but I asked him. He'll let us know.
Okay.
I told him to say hi.
Yeah.
I worked with Kelly when she was like 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
Out on the East Coast when I toured with Ritker.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, you just knew she was she was just destined for greatness because she's kind of like Briley. She was an old soul, very young, just, I always say when you're coaching kids, there's everybody's light bulb comes on at a different time.
Up here at the counter, we will start taking re-entries right about half by 12:15. We'll reopen the entries. If you are planning on leaving and coming back, we're going to try to start our advantage round closer to 5:30 and 6:30.
Oh.
Keep that in mind.
Okay. So he just said that we're going to try and get things going in the advancers round at 5:30 rather than 6:30, which means I have some quick work to do because I accidentally fired up that live stream early, which means I have to redo it, but I will. Fear not.
You're a magician. I mean, really?
Just really trying to be fast fingers. Copy and pasting, stuff like that. Yeah, they're, as Terry mentioned, they're taking re-entries, guys who want to bowl back, and of course a new crop of competitors in the B squad. That's coming up in less than 2 hours.
At my age, I actually threw.
I kind of saw the light bulb appear right above you.
I threw a game with an 8-pound ball.
Okay.
So I'm on my comeback.
There you go.
But
Gotta start somewhere.
What I was going to say is at our age, I would bowl this back just to not be stiff. I mean, you look at some of these people here. I mean, there's some youngsters, like Riley and Dan and Elijah, but there's some of them here in the little bit older range, and I'm assuming that's why Ed Mahanuel is not bowling this. He's one of our seniors, but he's a very, very, very active senior. And
Okay.
I think, Ed, I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but I think he's 84.
Okay.
But he still bowls on Thursday nights out here. Still scores very well and averages very high. So, I mean, he keeps himself in shape. If Ed was bowling this first shift, Ed would bowl back.
Okay. And I like how the format is because, you know, I feel like there's such a huge difference between a 6-game qualifier and an 8-game qualifier.
Huge.
You know, you could probably go 12 games and be ready for this advancers round,
Right.
but to go 16
I know.
and be ready, you know, at least that's what I'm thinking, because, you know, I'm thinking about, okay, what's my back going to feel like? What's my knee going to feel like after 8 games? But here, you know, you bowl back, you get through 8, 4 more, and
I know.
you're on to the next.
It's not bad. That's
Yeah.
why I look at like the MJ format, MJBT format, and GISBT format. I mean, they're both 8, 9 games, and then you're bowling another 8, 9 game or 8. Was it 8 games again in the qualifier? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, or the advancers round or whatever they call it.
Right.
Our tournament is 6 games, and then a few people go on to a 3-2-1 step ladder. But
Sure.
we also take the younger ages, the beginners. But I still think about it. The CBA too. Look at the average age of the CBA bowlers.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, to stay in shape.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Oh,
Matt Payne is considered young in that group.
there we go. The Fef and Coach Who.
I knew that would come out.
Yeah. That's soon to be Minnesota USBC Hall of Famer,
Woo!
Mark London.
You know how hard we worked to get Mark into the Hall of Fame, and I'm being serious. It shouldn't have been that hard, but it's like the industry took him away from Minnesota, and it's not like he hasn't continued. But the USBC rules are you have to have 15 years of competition, in the state of Minnesota, and we were finally kind of able to piece together everything because he truly is a pioneer in our industry. I mean, I bowled with him way back when. And he's done so much in our industry and for our industry since then, and bowled at the highest level. So I'm very excited that he's going to join our group.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
I'm going to turn the camera around to us here. Sit up straight. We're right up there. Say hello to everybody.
Hello,
As
everybody.
we come to the end of qualifying here at the A squad of the Champions Open at Spare Time Entertainment in Owatonna, Minnesota. Andrew Pfeffer, Terry Howe. And Mark says, all thanks to Coach Who and Sarah.
Sarah Nygaard is our state president, and she's such a breath of fresh air. She is amazing.
Yeah.
She is the reason our state has turned around completely. We had 70% turnaround in our state USBC board.
Okay.
And it's hands down. I'm so
Turn
proud.
around, turn over.
Oh my gosh. I
describe it either way.
I'm so proud to be part of the board now.
Mhm.
It's just the people that are on it are all passionate like we are, and they're all buried in it like we are every weekend, every day. And so we're truly doing some really good things, and we're inventing new things. So many times the USBC from state to state to state just ends up managing.
Uh-oh. Power gone.
Ruh-roh.
That like totally took us off.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, there we go.
We're back.
We're back, kind of. Hold on a second. We'll switch cameras here somehow and get us back to we'll go back to lane level for a moment here. But I've got a connection there on the ground that's been tripped over a few times. I might have to do a better job of taping that up. But
I can grab it.
yeah.
Grab some tape and help you tape it down
Yeah.
for the next squad.
right.
So are we going to continue? When is the next squad start?
So the next squad, I believe, is audio never dropped. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Mark. and Mark mentions yes, he has a check from the national tour. The next squad, I believe, is scheduled to start at 1:30, and then we go 6 more games. Again on this U.S. Open pattern. So yeah, it gets to be a little tough on the fresh, but yeah,
You
these
could
guys will
see-
get through it.
You couldn't tell whether it was grumpy because it's 8:30 in the morning, or grumpy because the pattern, or grumpy because it's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this pattern though, if you could just stick with it, get close, and hope you carry, pick up your spares. I mean, that's pretty much what put everyone at the top.
Yep.
The ones that were at the top were the ones that were just covering,
Filling
trying to
frames.
keep themselves out of trouble.
Yeah.
And then covering their spares, and you could see that across.
Mhm.
So
Again, our format, 6 games of qualifying across 18 lanes. You get 2 qualifying squads. We just finished the first. So just kind of waiting around to see if our scores pop up here. 1 and 4 will go on to the 4-game advancers round. Again, that's previously scheduled for 6:30. They're going to try and get it going by about 5:30 this afternoon. And the top 5 from that advance to our stepladder final, which I believe will be right here on our live stream pair. I hope we'll be on 11 and 12 because that'll make things easier for me.
I know people. I
Okay.
know people. I can make that happen.
Awesome. Love
I
that.
was trying to find, wondering who our tournament leader is. If it ended up being Briley, we could get him on here
Yeah.
to end the session.
Right. I could let me get my camera back in focus and all that. Widen up.
Nate. Dawson, can you find Briley for me? He's probably in the shop.
He's coming.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, now I tripped over it.
No, I got you today.
I must have put that in the worst possible spot because, yeah, tripped over it more than once.
Riley.
She's going after Briley for some post-game sound here. There's going to be some retaping done. Yeah, have a seat. And you'll be looking right up there once or at me, that's fine too. But yeah, happy to have Briley Howe here. And I actually, look at that. If we kind of shimmy over a little, that actually kind of works.
Look at that. We made it work.
There we go.
Perfect.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You had a great run here in the first squad of qualifying. Tell us what you saw out there.
Yeah, so they were definitely a little tricky at first, right? I mean, we're going on US Open pattern, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to be really hard. This place hooks a lot. So basically what happened is we threw the first couple shots in practice and the gutter just flew, but it was very inconsistent. So I got done with practice. I just said, screw it. I'm going to move left. I'm going to hit the hole. I'm going to hit the head pin. I'm going to basically shoot 180, 190 and move on to my day. And I ended up catching a couple doubles here and there and got to 40 over, basically. I mean, they transitioned. I just told one of the guys, I'm like, this is the one tournament I have access to every bowling ball I own because I have the shop here. And I threw one. So, yeah.
When you get into an event like this, it's kind of a grinded out thing where spares are going to be crucial.
Yeah.
Tell me about the mindset. what goes through your head when you're going to be leaving 10 pins and combinations on the left and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, the mindset for me literally was just hit the hole, leave what I leave, and make my spares. Right? And I didn't shoot spares very well. I missed 6 makeables, but so it could have been a lot bigger. But yeah, it's just one of those grind mentalities of one shot at a time, next shot's up, and go from there. If you split, you split. It is what it is. You move on to the next one. I mean, we're bowling on U.S. Open pattern. Like they're meant to be hard. So
yeah, is there kind of a decided difference pair to pair in this house that you've seen?
There can be, yeah. Most of the pairs played pretty true. 11 and 12 was really tight for some reason today. I don't know if it was just someone who bowled there or whatnot, but I came off 15 and 16, making a ball change late in the game and punching out for 220 or whatever it was, and then coming back to 11 and 12, and they were snot tight down lane for some reason. So I had to ball back up, and that's the ball I stuck with the rest of the day, and we ran with it. So
yeah. The event, of course, named after your shop.
Yep.
Tell us about that. I mean, what did it take to get this all together? Because this is a first-time thing, right?
Yeah, this is the first event we're running, and it's part of the Quadruple Crown, which is awesome. So kind of cool to lead not my own tournament, but my sponsor tournament. It's pretty awesome for the first squad. So
and to be clear, Al Houston is running.
Yes. To be very clear to everybody that's going to come at me on Facebook and Instagram, whatever, this is not my tournament.
Right.
So, this was actually something I've wanted to do for a long time. Since my shop's been here, I've wanted to run a big event. And Al kind of approached me he always comes to me with a bunch of different events and ideas, and the guy never stops, right? So he came to me with this event. He goes, I want to run the Champions Pro Shop Open. He named it. He just said, I want a little bit of sponsorship money. I want you to help me promote it, help me with the format, whatever you think. And again, to be clear, I didn't make any decisions on the formats, on anything.
Keep talking. I think they're putting up a score update. Okay. But
basically, he came to me with this event, and we picked a day, and we figured out, okay, I can be here, he can be here, we can run with it. And then it happened to be we got a fantastic partner in Larson Siding for the Quadruple Crown, and we got to partner with Nick Heilman and then Nevin Breed up north, basically.
St. Cloud.
In St. Cloud, too. So it'll be great to run those 3 events, and it's great to have kind of a kickoff event here in Home Center. We can get comfortable with it. We can run it. We definitely wish we would have had more entries, but Al and I kind of talked about it. You got a college tournament, the first big tier 1 of the year in Milwaukee this weekend.
Yeah.
So we lost probably 10 entries with kids and coaches that would have came up and bowled, that supported our events in the past. So that's definitely a little tricky. But again, maybe it's something we relook at the weekend next year and find something we can kind of open it up. So,
and you kind of alluded to it. I was going to ask next. I know it's early going, but do you plan on this being an annual thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is going to be our goal originally was to try to make an event that would draw people to Owatonna at least once a year, right? The original intent for this tournament was to be 2 days. We were going to run 3 squads, and then Sunday would be the advancers. This year, we ran into some timing issues with the MJBT CBA doubles up north tomorrow, so a lot of the CBA players and local adult talent kind of commit their time to the youth bowlers and to bowl a doubles tournament with them. So we didn't want to take away from them, right? Yeah. We don't want to take away from the kids. We always want to get back to them. So it's one of those things where we just said, you know what, let's adjust the format. Let's bring it down. So now we're basically making it a long day, but it is what it is. So
yeah, but I mean, a fun day too.
Absolutely.
You've got guys here, as we learned during the stream, from South Dakota, from Minnesota, from Wisconsin. Yeah. I mean, the reach has been pretty good, I think.
Yeah, and we had 4 guys come up from like Omaha area, which is unbelievable. I want to give them a big shout out. Thanks for coming up, making the drive up to kind of participate today too. So that's an awesome reach too. So yeah, I love that.
So here are the totals, and probably be easier to read it right there on my screen. You're the high one. You're the high guy at 40 over.
That's pretty good.
Matt Payne and Ryan Powers following you. You 3 are the only ones who are plus, and then Phil Stellmaker and Cody Larson. Since you guys are kind of going some right, some left, you probably ended up crossing with a couple of them, right?
Actually, I didn't cross with a single one of those guys.
Really?
Yeah, we happen to all be moving the same direction, which is very odd. Or we just didn't catch each other at the right time. Yeah. I bowled next to. I was following Matt the whole day.
Okay.
Or Matt was following me. One or the other. Either way. yeah, he was kind of doing his thing. He's comfortable doing. Likes to throw it hard and keep it really close to the head pin, and he's really good at it.
Sure.
And Phil, still one of those guys, plays them pretty straight and kind of attacks the lanes differently. And Ryan's a good player. He's one of the players that came up from Omaha area. Pretty good player. I've crossed paths with him a couple times in my time at school and kind of bowling some of the big stuff in the Midwest. But good player, definitely a good player. He attacked the lanes a lot closer to what I attacked him at. Cody Larson kind of did the same thing, but he's kind of in between with his being two-handed and the way he rolls it. He can do kind of some trick things there. So
Sure.
Yeah, it was kind of odd that I didn't cross any of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So the format says it's 1 out of 4 makes the advancers round, and that's out of both squads, right? Not
Correct.
okay.
So basically what we're doing, top 5, we wanted to make, again, I say we, but Alan and I had this discussion and he made the decision. We wanted to basically create something that you had a little bit of squad equity.
Yeah.
Or equal squad equity, right? Because sometimes when you bowl regionals and like 2 squad events, you get 75% from one squad, 25 from the other squad, right?
Yep.
We don't want that. So if we sold out, the original intent was to go 10 from each squad. Once we didn't sell out, we decided to shrink it down a little bit. So we're guaranteeing the top 5 in each squad, and then 1 and 4 combined after that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, so those top 5 people that we just named are guaranteed to make the match play tonight, and then we'll see. We got some big hitters coming in for the second squad here, so we'll see kind of how that pans out. But
Yeah. All right.
I think my number's gonna be crushed in the next squad. That's just me.
Okay.
So.
Well,
All right.
but you're in.
But I'm in. That's what matters.
You get a few hours to just
Exactly.
kind of take it all in and
Watch some college football. And
yeah.
go from there.
yeah. What I guess what do you think about going into that next round of play?
I think I'm going to attack him the exact same way I did. I mean, I got some lucky hits, but I'm going to keep the focus on making more spares. And like I said, I missed some single pins that I shouldn't have, and making some tweaks in the spare stuff since I don't bowl as often. So I just need to kind of focus in on the spares a little bit more, and go from there.
Okay, great. Riley Howe, your tournament leader at the current time. Thank you
Yep.
so much for the time, and we'll let you get on with your break here. I'm
Thank
going to
you
do the
much.
same.
There you go.
And then if you look in the playlist for this, the 10K quadruple crown, you'll find the video link for the B squad,
There you
which
go.
we'll be back with in it looks like about an hour and a half. So
Maybe I'll pop in and do a little commentary. For
I
you
would
later.
love that.
All right.
I would love that. All right.
Perfect.
Until then, Andrew Pfeffer here with Bowling with the Fef, and we'll see you
See you guys later.
for the B squad.